Prime Minister Sushila Karki orders high security for peaceful elections. Authorities directed to monitor boycotts and ensure voter safety. Solukhumbu voters in Nepal show strong enthusiasm despite geographical challenges. Demand candidates prioritize healthcare, education and local development. NTV night curfew imposed in Gaur following violent clashes. Security restricted from Mudwa Lawa to customs area to restore order. Israeli airstrikes kill 10 in Lebanon, including Hezbollah official. Deadliest attack since 2024 ceasefire hits Bekaa Valley and refugee camp. India and Brazil sign strategic deal on critical minerals. Modi and Lula agree to bolster supply chains for green tech. And Pakistan and New Zealand clash in Colombo to open Super 8 stage. Rain threatens high stakes opener as India prepares for South Africa showdown. Good evening, I'm Suveksha Rajak. Welcome to NTV World Primetime News. We are coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo, and just after midnight in Sydney. Now, the news in details. Prime Minister Sushila Karki has ordered security officials to tighten measures to ensure the upcoming House of Representatives election remain peaceful and fearless. Speaking in Butwal to Lumini provinces security heads, the Prime Minister expressed concern over recent sporadic incidents across the country as election day approaches. She directed officials to identify and monitor groups attempting to disrupt the polls or spreading boycott rumors for political gain. Emphasizing a zero-tolerance approach, she urged the authorities to remain fully focused on election-centric security to ensure a stable environment for voters throughout the province. In the Himalayan district of Solukhumbu, voters are eagerly preparing to cast their ballots. Despite the geographical fragility, voter enthusiasm remains strong in these sparsely populated areas. They are calling on candidates to prioritize basic development issues, including healthcare, education, tourism, agriculture, and employment opportunities. Voters in Solukhumbu's district say this election should focus on basic development rather than ambitious political promises. Residents in Dorpur Bazar say access to healthcare remains a major concern. For every common illness, many families still travel to Kathmandu for treatment, often taking loans to afford the cost. In remote areas, emergency patients sometimes depend on expensive helicopter evacuations. Education services are limited, road connectivity remains poor, and job opportunities are scarce. Across the district, voters are demanding reliable roads, electricity, telecommunications, and safe drinking water. Many are also calling for investment in tourism, agriculture, and small businesses to create employment along with improved access to free healthcare and education. Solukhumbu has a population of just over 104,000 people, with more than 85,000 registered voters expected to cast their ballots. The district has a single federal constituency. In the 2022 parliamentary election, the seat was won by the CPN-UML. This time, 12 candidates from major political parties are in the race, as voter enthusiasm remains high despite ongoing development challenges. Efforts are underway to clear massive snow drifts and create a path towards polling centres in the Norpabhumi rural municipality of Manang, after access for monitoring became nearly impossible. All three security agencies in the district are currently working to clear the accumulated snow to facilitate movement. Travel to this region had come to a complete standstill during the winter as most local residents moved out of the district. Chief District Officer Narayan Paudel stated that the snow clearing operation aims to ensure that both voters and election officials can safely reach the villages to conduct the polls despite the extreme cold and heavy snowfall. There are 5 polling centres in this area, serving a total of 488 voters. Election Commission Nepal has wrapped up nationwide voter education and security drills, organizing mock voting and crisis simulations across the nation to ensure a fair and fear-free poll while reducing invalid ballots and reinforcing election day preparedness. Diksha Avasthi brings more.
As Nepal prepares for the March 5 House of Representatives election, the Election Commission Nepal has intensified a nationwide voter education and security preparedness campaign, combining public awareness drives, mock voting exercises, and coordinated security simulations to ensure a free, fair, and fear-free poll. The mock voting program is part of a broader voting education initiative designed to inform citizens about the voting process, ballot marking procedures, and polling day protocols. Officials say the objective is not only to boost voter confidence but also to reduce the number of invalid ballots, as issue observed in previous elections. At the same time, security simulations are being conducted across districts. These coordinated drills allow security agencies to rehearse responses to potential election day risk to ensure polling remains safe and orderly. In Dhading, the District Election Office and District Security Committee have taken mock voting and voter education to rural settlements. Security drills involving the Nepal Army, Nepal Police, and Armed Police Force are also underway. The exercises focus on polling station security, crowd management, emergency response, and legal responsibilities. Dhading has 114 polling stations and 310 polling centers, with 6 classified as highly sensitive. Meanwhile, in Okhaldunga, authorities carried out a full-scale mock crisis scenario. The drill simulated a voter attempting to vote twice, triggering protest and chaos inside a polling center. Security forces responded in layers of Nepal Police first, followed by the Armed Police Force, and finally the Nepal Army, forming a perimeter and firing warning shots. The situation was brought under control. Political parties were consulted and voting resumed, a test of real-time coordination on the ground. Okhaldunga has 84 polling stations and 157 polling centers. In Biratnagar of Morang, a similar exercise demonstrated voter protection measures, disruption control, and the secure transport of ballot boxes to counting centers. Officials say there will be no compromise on election security. Beyond security, the Commission is expanding voter education. In Thapa, a district-wide campaign will run from February 15 to March 1 across all 131 wards, with volunteers reaching households using sample ballot papers. Officials say mock voting helps reduce voter errors, familiarize first-time and elderly voters with ballot, and minimize invalidated votes, while emphasizing the voter education is as vital as security to maintaining electoral integrity, even though the awareness campaign began less than a month before the election.
We'll take a short break here. We shall be back with more updates. Stay tuned with us. You're watching NTV World and this is Primetime News. Welcome back. Now, the news. The District Administration Office, Rautahat, has imposed an finite curfew in Gaur, district headquarters of Rautahat, effective from 1 p.m. today. The local administration issued the curfew order after clashes broke out again between the two groups this morning at Sabgatha of Gaur Municipality 6. The curfew order has been enforced within the area from Mudwalawa in the east of Gaur Municipality to the Lalbakia embankment in the west, from Bam Canal in the north to Gaur Customs Office area in the south. Nepal's trade deficit have surpassed 955 billion rupees in first 7 months of the fiscal year, with total imports reaching 1,123 billion rupees against just 1,168 billion rupees in exports. India remains the largest partner, accounting for over half of the total deficit at 491 billion rupees. While Nepal saw minor trade profits with countries like Romania and Norway, the overall gap is driven by heavy imports of petroleum products, which exceeded 140 billion rupees, followed by iron, smartphones and gold. On the export side, soybean oil led the way at nearly 67 billion rupees, followed by black cardamom and carpets. The data highlights a growing reliance on imports for essential commodities and energy. International Mother Language Day is being observed today worldwide to celebrate linguistic diversity and promote international understanding, with this year's UNESCO theme focusing on youth voices and multilingual education. First proclaimed by UNESCO in 1999 and later endorsed by the UN General Assembly in 2002, the day was originally initiated by Bangladesh to preserve mother languages and cultural heritage. UNESCO emphasizes that languages are vital for development, intercultural dialogue, inclusive education and building knowledge societies, while mobilizing political will for sustainable development. Nepal, home to over 120 languages, observed the occasion with a program organized by Language Commission, attended by Minister Anil Kumar Sinha, Secretary Mukunda Prasad Niraula and Bangladesh Ambassador Shafqir Rahman, among others. The celebration underlines the need to protect and promote mother tongues, ensuring that each languages continue to thrive for future generations. To explore more on the International Mother Language Day, we are joined by Dr. Gopal Thakur, the Chairperson of Language Commission, Nepal. Welcome to NTV World Primetime News, Mr. Thakur.
Thank you.
So why is the International Mother Language Day important?
For your kind information, the International Mother Language Day its background starts from Bangladesh, and in Bangladesh at that time it was in Eastern Pakistan, and the people were Muslim, but they were Bengali native speakers, and their demand was to recognize Bengali alongside Urdu as the official language. In 1952, 5 students were killed by the then Pakistani administration, and afterward, when Bangladesh was established, it took initiative to recognize it as International Mother Language Day. That's why the first importance of this day is that mother language is much important. It's not only just the means of communication, but it's the conveying vehicle of identity. It's the vehicle of translanguaging, or also we can say the intergenerational transmission of the indigenous knowledge. And that's why it's more than what we generally say, that language is only the means of communication.
Yes, so Mr. Thakur, Nepal shares a similar diversity. How have things evolved in the recent decades?
First of all, I want to say that there is no similar diversity according to Bangladesh in our country, because our country has no mother language in majority, but in Bangladesh, Bengali language is in majority. Besides that, our country has 124 languages according to the 2021 census report, and that's why. But it's right that we have to save all those languages, and for that, our language commission has been established by the government of Nepal, federal government of Nepal, and this commission is working in the field, and we have done a few things that we have already recommended the languages for provincial official use. Likewise, recently we have tendered our recommendations to
So,
the.
yes, Mr. Thakur, can you share an example of recent events signifying visible changes in conservation of mother languages in Nepal?
Thank you very much for your kind information. First of all, we have already recommended in all 7 provinces, and among them, 2 provinces have already recognized our recommendations. Bagmati state government has already declared Tamang and Nepal Bhasha as the official languages, and likewise, Gandaki province has already declared uh, Gurung and Magar languages for the official status, and other states or other provinces are already working to do so. Moreover, that recently that I said earlier, we have recommended the government of Nepal to use multilingual education in practice through mother tongue. And recently, we have already tendered our recommendations to Right Honorable Prime Minister Sushila Karki.
So, Mr.
And
Thakur, what are the most pressing actions the Language Commission deems necessary henceforth to conserve and promote mother languages across Nepal?
first of all, education must start from mother language as not as a subject, but as the medium, vernacular. Vernacular of education and initial education should be mother tongue. The next one, the in all 3 levels of the government, mother tongues should be recognized as the official status. And for government of Nepal also we have tendered our recommendation to amend the Article 7.1 of the Constitution. There only Nepali has been recognized as the official language of Nepal. Moreover, that we have already taken initiation of initiations to start classes for transmission of generational transmission of the languages like Kusunda, like Lungkhim, like Gura, and so on. And for your kind information, earlier the speakers of those languages were very low, and in the recent census reports, their language speakers have been increased.
Okay,
But
yes. Dr. Thakur, that was our last question, and thank you so much for having you here with us.
okay, thank you.
That was Dr. Gopal Thakur, Chairperson of Language Commission Nepal. We are going for a short break here. International updates on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World Primetime News. Now, time for some international updates. At least 10 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on eastern Lebanon, according to state media. A senior Hezbollah official was among those killed, the Iranian-backed militant group said in a statement. Israel's military said it was targeting sites that belong to the group in the Bekaa Valley, which is alleged constituted a violation of the understandings between Israel and Lebanon. The strikes are among the deadliest in Lebanon since a ceasefire ended the war between Israel and Hezbollah in November 2024. The Bekaa attack came hours after the Israeli strike on a Palestinian refugee camp in southern Lebanon. US President Donald Trump has imposed a new 10% global tariff to replace one struck down by the Supreme Court, calling the ruling terrible and lambasting the justices who rejected his trade policy as fools. In a 6-3 decision, the court held that the president had overstepped his powers.
Ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
The decision was a major victory for businesses and U.S. states that had challenged the duties, opening the door to potentially billions of dollars in tariff refunds, while also injecting new uncertainty into the global trade landscape. Asian trading partners are reassessing trade risk after President Donald Trump pledged to new introduced tariffs just hours after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down many of his earlier sweeping trade levers. The ruling invalidated tariffs that has targeted major Asian exporters such as China, South Korea, Japan, and Chinese Taipei, a key global chip producer. Japan said it would carefully review the court's decision and Washington's response, while South Korea stated the ruling would not affect its broader trade agreement with the U.S. China, which is preparing to host Trump in late March, has not yet responded publicly. Meanwhile, Hong Kong exports have generally faced lower tariffs, helping maintain trade flows. Kim Jong-un delivered a report on the second day of Workers' Party of Korea Congress, holding a high-level policy review session in Pyongyang. State media reported that Kim's presentation covered a broad range of policy areas, including domestic infrastructure projects, housing construction, industrial development, and the expansion of military capabilities. Delegates at the session also discussed economic plans aimed at boosting production and improving living standards, while also emphasizing the importance of strengthening national defense and military readiness. The Congress, which convenes once every 5 years, is expected to continue over several days with additional reports and policy discussions shaping the official direction of the state for next half decade. More international news and sports updates coming up next after this break. Stay with us. Plans to convert the house where Adolf Hitler was born into a police station have drawn mixed reactions in Brunau am Inn near the German border. The Australian government took control of the building in 2016 to neutralize it and prevent it from becoming a neo-Nazi pilgrimage site. Some residents support the move as a practical solution to deter extremist gatherings, while others believe the site's historical significance should be more openly acknowledged. Authorities say converting it into a police facility will permanently prevent misuse, with renovations and security upgrades expected to be completed later this year. NASA has set March 6 as the earliest possible launch date for Artemis 2. The first crewed flyby mission to the moon in more than 50 years. The Artemis II mission will see 4 astronauts embark on a 10-day journey around the far side of the moon and back to Earth, paving the way for a future lunar landing, according to NASA.
There's work, a lot of forward work that remains, including the post-wet dress analyses, of course. We do have some significant work to be completed out at the pad. Charlie will talk to that in more detail. And we also have a multi-day flight readiness review that will come up later next week. And so those things are all in front of us. We need to successfully navigate all of those. But assuming that happens, it puts us in a very good position to target the March 6th.
Now, sports news. The Super 8 stage of the 2026 T20 World Cup has kicked off tonight in Colombo as Pakistan is taking on New Zealand. Both teams enter this crucial round with identical records, having finished second in their respective groups after losses to rivals India and South Africa. The action at the R. Premadasa Stadium is currently underway, with Pakistan opting to bat first, but fans are keeping an eye on the skies as heavy rain threatens to disrupt play. This high-stakes clash sets the tone for a massive weekend, followed by tomorrow's showdown between defending champions India and South Africa. And he was a 9-year-old boy who dreamed of becoming a soccer player when he was diagnosed with bone cancer in his left leg. A decade later, Japanese player Tokito Oda is the world #1 in wheelchair tennis. Winner of the Golden Slam, the 4 Grand Slam tournaments, and the gold medal at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Oda says the adversity he faced as a child ultimately forged his competitive spirit and focus. Before we wrap up, here's a look into headlines once again. Prime Minister Sushila Karki orders high security for peaceful elections. Authorities directed to monitor boycotts and ensure voters' safety. Solukhumbu voters in Nepal show strong enthusiasm despite geographical challenges. Demand candidates prioritize healthcare, education and local development. Indefinite curfew imposed in Gaur following violent clashes. Security restricted from Mudwalawa to customs area to restore order. Israeli airstrikes killed 10 in Lebanon, including Hezbollah official deadliest attack since 2024 ceasefire hits Bekaa Valley and refugee camp. India and Brazil signed strategic deals on critical minerals. Modi and Lula agreed to bolster supply chains for green tech. And Pakistan and New Zealand clash in Colombo to open Super 8 stage. Pakistan chooses to bat first. That's all for the moment here on Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Suveksha Rajak. Thanks for staying with us here. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal. Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
This is The World This Week, your weekly roundup of the latest international events and updates. This is me, Bhavana Casey. In this edition, we bring you the stories making headlines across the globe, along with groundbreaking scientific research to cultural milestones and remarkable celebrations. Let's start with Bangladesh, as the country is entering a new political chapter. Tariq Rahman has been sworn in as Bangladesh's new Prime Minister, marking a decisive political shift in the South Asian nation after his party's sweeping parliamentary election victory. Rahman takes over from an interim government that has steered the country of 170 million people for 18 months since the government led by Sheikh Hasina was overthrown in 2024's uprising. Bangladesh's new Prime Minister has been sworn in after his party's landslide win in last week's parliamentary elections, the country's first since the massive 2024 uprising, and a vote billed as the key to nation's future political landscape. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, whose term will last the next 5 years, is the son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia and former President Zia-ur-Rahman. He is also Bangladesh's first male Prime Minister in 35 years. Since 1991, when Bangladesh returned to democracy, either Rahman's mother Khaleda Zia or her arch-rival Sheikh Hasina has served as prime ministers. The country's president Mohammad Sahebuddin administered the oath of office for Rahman. Dozens of cabinet members and members of the new government are also sworn in. Rahman's Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its allies own 212 seats in the 350-member parliament, while an 11-party alliance led by the Jamaat-e-Islami party, the country's largest Islamist party, owns 77 seats to be in the opposition. A new party, the Nationalist Citizen Party or NCP, formed by the student leaders who led the 2024 uprising, was a part of the 11-party alliance led by Jamaat-e-Islami. The NCP secured 6 seats. In Bangladesh, voters elect 300 members of parliament directly, while the remaining 50 posts are reserved for women and distributed on a proportional basis among the winning parties. 60-year-old Rahman returned to the country in December after 17 years in self-exile in London and shortly before his mother's death. He has promised to work for democracy in Bangladesh, a country of 170 million people. An interim government led by Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus that took over after Hasina was toppled oversaw the election. The vote was largely peaceful and deemed as acceptable by international observers. Foreign dignitaries and diplomats also attended the swearing-in ceremony. Nepal's Foreign Minister Balananda Sharma, along with Maldives President Mohammad Muizu, Bhutanese Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay, and the Indian delegation led by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla were among the guests. Iran and the US have reached an understanding on the main principles to resolve their nuclear dispute following indirect talks in Geneva. Iranian and US officials described the discussions in Geneva as making progress, while Oman, the mediator, says common goals and technical issues have been identified. The meeting followed repeated US military threats against Iran over its deadly crackdown on anti-government protest and its nuclear activities. Speaking after indirect talks in Geneva, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi added that work still needed to be done.
زمان مشخصی تنظیم نشد. قرار شد یه مقدار دو طرف روی متن‌های یک توافق احتمالی کار انجام بدن و بعد ما این متن‌ها رو تبادل بکنیم و بعد تاریخ دیگری رو برای دور سوم در نظر بگیریم.
Badr al-Bushaidi, Foreign Minister of Mediator Oman, also said the negotiations concluded with good progress towards identifying common goals and relevant technical issues. The US said progress has been made. Ahead of the talks between the United States and Iran in Geneva, US President Donald Trump had warned Iran of the consequences of not making a deal.
I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
I've been told that a deal is next to impossible.
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
The US and its European allies suspect that Iran is moving towards the development of a nuclear weapon, something that Tehran has always denied. Meanwhile, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC released images of military exercises conducted in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point through which a significant portion of the world's well supplies pass. State media reported that the drills showcased missile, drone, and naval operations and were held on the eve of discussions with the United States. The parallel display of military strength and diplomatic engagement underscores the fragile atmosphere surrounding the talks, which are expected to focus on Iran's nuclear program and the possibility of easing economic sanctions. Officials from Russia and Ukraine met in Geneva this week for United States brokered talks, with both sides describing both rounds of talks as constructive. However, they failed to achieve any breakthrough. The talks follow 2 rounds of U.S. brokered negotiations held in the United Arab Emirates in January and early February.
Talks between Russia, Ukraine and the US aimed at ending Moscow's war in Ukraine have concluded without a breakthrough. The trilateral meetings held in Geneva went on late on Tuesday but only lasted 2 hours on Wednesday. Although US envoy Steve Witkoff had expressed optimism over the talks, both the chief Russian negotiator and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky indicated they had been difficult. Some progress was made on military issues, including the location of the front line and ceasefire monitoring, but an agreement on the issue of territory, without which no ceasefire can be envisaged, remains elusive, with Moscow and Kyiv's positions still far apart. Russia has not budged in its demand for full control of the eastern Donbas region, made up of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, which is a non-starter for Ukraine. While conceding talks were challenging, Kremlin negotiator Vladimir Medinsky added they had been businesslike and said another meeting would take place soon. Zelensky also described the negotiations as not easy due to differences in the two sides' positions.
Garbage is piling up across Indonesian capital Jakarta and surrounding areas, where 42 million people produce about 14,000 tons of waste every day. Overflowing landfills and blocked drains are raising health and flood risk as officials face pressure to find better recycling and waste solutions. Garbage-choked streets, overflowing landfills and the looming threat of trash avalanches are increasingly affecting Greater Jakarta as the world's most populous metropolitan area struggles with a growing waste crisis. The Indonesian capital and its surrounding satellite cities are home to some 42 million people. Together, they generate an estimated 14,000 tons of waste every day, straining collection services and landfill capacities. Local authorities are facing mounting pressure to improve waste management infrastructure, but chronic underfunding, population growth and inadequate public awareness hinder the efforts. Environmental groups warn that without urgent action, the crisis could pose serious health risks, damage waterways and contribute to long-term pollution in the region. Landfills around the capital are reaching capacity faster than anticipated, prompting calls for more sustainable solutions such as recycling, composting and waste-to-energy initiatives. Ramadan has begun for millions of Muslims around the world after Saudi astronomers sighted the new moon. During the holy month, they fast from sunrise to sunset, focus on prayer and charity, and gather with family for iftar meals.
Millions of Muslims around the world have begun observing Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, after Saudi astronomers confirmed the sighting of the new moon. Saudi religious authorities continue to rely on direct visual sighting, a practice that has been followed since the time of the Prophet Muhammad. During Ramadan, Muslims abstain from food and water from sunrise until sunset, breaking their fast with an iftar meal afterwards. In addition to fasting, adherents are encouraged to increase prayer, engage in charitable acts, and strengthen family and community ties through evening iftar meals. The month represents a time of increased worship, religious reflection, and charity, but it is also a time for families and communities to come together to break their fast, culminating in the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Fitr. The conclusion of Ramadan is marked by Eid al-Fitr, a festival celebrated with prayers, feasts, and social gatherings. This year, Eid is projected to fall on April 10-11, depending on moon sightings across different regions. The observance of Ramadan remains one of the 5 pillars of Islam, underscoring its central role in Muslim religious life worldwide.
Scientists say they have drilled deeper than ever beneath the West Antarctic ice sheet. The vast expanse is estimated to hold enough ice to raise global sea levels by 4 to 5 meters.
An international team of researchers has successfully drilled the longest ever sediment core from underneath a major ice sheet, bringing up layers of ancient mud, rock, and microfossils that date back as far as 23 million years. The achievement, part of the Sensitivity of West Antarctic Ice Sheet to 2 degrees Celsius project, involved boring through over 523 meters of ice at remote camp on the edge of the West Antarctic ice sheet and then taking 228 meters of sediment core from below the ice's base, the deepest such core ever recovered in this part of the world. What makes this discovery so important isn't just the depth reached, but what's in those rocks. Scientists have found shell fragments and tiny marine fossils deep in the sediment, clear indicators that the site was, at times in Earth's distant past, not covered by thick ice, but connected to open ocean conditions. Those marine signs suggest that the massive ice sheet that blankets West Antarctica today once retreated far inland, exposing seafloor and allowing light-dependent ocean life to flourish. Researchers believe this sediment archive captures a timeline of multiple climate and ice sheet states, spanning periods of warmer global temperatures when the ice margin was smaller or even absent.
In an update from Space World, an international team of astronauts has arrived at the International Space Station. 2 Americans, 1 French and 1 Russian astronauts are embarking on a months-long research mission, stepping in for a crew that had to return to the Earth early due to a medical issue. An international team of astronauts arrived at the International Space Station ISS on February the 14th, restoring the station's full complement following the early departure of the previous crew due to a medical issue. The Crew 12 team includes American astronauts Jessica Meir and Jack Hathaway, Francis Sophie Adenauer, and Russian cosmonaut Andrei Fedorfev. Their arrival brings the ISS back to full operational strength, enabling a return to the station's complete research and maintenance schedule. The astronauts will conduct an 8-month mission focusing on experiments in biomedical science, microgravity physics, and technology demonstrations. They will carry out routine maintenance and spacewalks that were delayed under the reduced crew complement. The previous Crew 11 team returned to the Earth ahead of the schedule in January after a crew member required a medical evacuation, the first such instance in NASA's spaceflight history. NASA officials say Crew 12's arrival is vital for sustaining international cooperation in low Earth orbit and supporting the agency's broader goals, including preparations for future lunar missions under the Artemis program and long-duration deep space and long-duration space exploration. Thousands gathered in northwest Nigeria as the fishing festival returned to the area. The festival promotes unity, culture, and tourism in the region. Nigeria's iconic Argungu Fishing Festival has made a triumphant return in northwest Nigeria after a 6-year hiatus caused by insecurity in Kebbi State. Thousands of fishermen from across the region gathered to compete in the traditional event, which has long been celebrated as one of Africa's largest cultural and sporting festivals. Participants used traditional nets and canoes to catch fish, vying for honors and prizes in a display of skill, endurance, and local heritage. Security forces were deployed to ensure the safety of both competitors and spectators, reflecting ongoing efforts to stabilize the region. Festival organizers emphasized that the revival signals a return to normalcy and boost local tourism and economic activity in Kebbi State. The event also included cultural performance, music, and traditional ceremonies, highlighting the region's rich heritage. Officials say the festival provides opportunities for youth engagement and the promotion of communal unity through shared cultural practice. It is noted that successful resumption could encourage similar cultural festivals to restart in areas previously affected by insecurity. The annual Kurdistan Ice and Snow Festival has been held at Mount Korek in northern Iraq, attracting athletes from Iraq and neighboring countries. Competitors took part in skiing, snowboarding, and snowmobile racing, celebrating winter sports and the region's natural beauty.
The annual Kurdistan Ice and Snow Festival officially kicked off on Tuesday on Mount Korek in northern Iraq, drawing more than 50 local and international athletes to the snow-covered slopes of the autonomous Kurdistan region. Set against a backdrop of sweeping white peaks and crisp winter skies, the festival has quickly become one of the region's most anticipated seasonal events. Competitors from across Iraq and several neighboring countries gathered to take part in a variety of snow sports, including skiing, snowboarding, snowmobile racing, and endurance challenges designed to test speed, skill, and stamina. Organizers said the event aims not only to promote winter sports, but also to highlight the natural beauty and tourism potential of the mountainous area. Mount Korek, which rises more than 2,000 meters above sea level, is one of the few locations in the country where snowfall is heavy enough to sustain winter sporting activities. The festival's opening ceremony featured music performances, cultural displays, and welcoming remarks from local officials who emphasized the importance of sports in fostering unity and international cooperation. Athletes expressed enthusiasm about competing in the unique setting. Many described the event as an opportunity to exchange experiences, build friendships, and encourage greater interest in winter sports among young people in the region.
Millions across Asia welcomed the Chinese Lunar New Year this week, ushering in the Year of the Horse. Cities from Beijing to Bangkok hosted a mix of traditional ceremonies, public events, and family gatherings to mark the arrival of New Year.
Humanoid robots take center stage during China's annual Spring Festival Gala, performing a martial arts routine that included kicks, sword waving, and backflips. The performance, broadcast to millions of viewers nationwide, featured synchronized choreography that mimicked traditional Chinese martial arts, demonstrating precision and agility rarely seen in machine performers. Meanwhile, at the China Media Group's 2026 Spring Festival Gala, a humanoid robot powered by embodied artificial intelligence took on dual roles on and off the stage, serving both as a capable assistant and a cast member in the country's most watched television event. At the entrance of the broadcasting performance hall, the robot named Galbot worked as a shop assistant, handing snacks and drinks to performers and audiences. It also stepped into the spotlight, teaming up with renowned artists to feature in a microfilm presented during the gala. Currently, more than 100 robot stores have been set up in over 20 cities nationwide.
Brazil's famous Rio Carnival is underway, with the parade paying a vibrant tribute to late Brazilian rock star Rita Lee, with dancers, musicians, and floats celebrating her musical legacy and impact on women in music.
The second night of Rio de Janeiro's carnival parades at the Sambadrome opened with a vibrant display from the Mocidade Independente de Padre Miguel Samba School, paying tribute to the late Rita Lee. The performance featured an explosion of bright colors, elaborate costumes, and a psychedelic visual aesthetic inspired by the legendary Brazilian rock singer and composer, whose songs have become feminist anthems across generations. Dancers, musicians, and floats wove together Lee's musical legacy with traditional samba rhythms, captivating both the live audience and viewers watching nationwide broadcasts. Organizers described the tribute as a celebration of Lee's contributions to Brazilian culture and her pioneering role in promoting women's voices in music. Spectator highlighted the emotional impact of the performance, with several noting that the parade successfully blended contemporary artistic expression with the city's long-standing carnival traditions. Authorities reported heightened security and crowd management measures at the Sambadrome as thousands of spectators attended the parade, ensuring the event proceeded safely amid the large turnout.
Well, this brings us to the end of this episode of The World This Week. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did bringing it to you. We shall see you again next week with a new episode. Also, do follow us on our website www.nepaltelevision.com, our social media handles, as well as our YouTube channel. Till then, take care and bye-bye.
Power is often misunderstood. We think of it as control, coercion, or even command. But history shows that the most durable power is persuasion without force, what we now call soft power. Welcome to Geopard. I'm Shivani Thapa Bosnev. My guest today does not speak or carry emblems around, yet globally he may be one of Nepal's most effective representatives. A Grammy nominee, a global music collaborator and creator whose music carries Nepal into spaces diplomacy rarely reaches. Let him introduce in the language that he best speaks to the world.
शान्त मनमा शान्त जगाउन मृग तृष्णा सरी जीवनमा के छ पाउनु भन के नै गुमाउनु किन मान्छे यहाँ आफ्नै भुलमा पनि एक्लै एक्लै यहाँ गाली र दोषको भुमरीमा रुमल्ली रुमल्ली रहन्छन् बुद्धकै भई आउनु बाँसुरी श्री कृष्णकै बजाउनु बुद्धकै भई आउनु बाँसुरी श्री कृष्णकै बजाउनु मृग तृष्णा सरी जीवनमा के छ पाउनु भन के नै गुमाउनु.
And that possibly was the best language the audience could read you. Manoj Snewa, dear viewers, the first ever Nepali Grammy nominee to the world, and this is the language that the world understands from Manoj, from how they read Manoj and how they read Nepal. Welcome to Geopard, Manoj.
Thank you, Shivani.
The first time I saw you performing, I stood there questioning myself who this guy is.
Playing the bamboo flute.
Right, and I'm sure many can relate to that very quick. Before we talk about music, who were you before music happened?
Let me go back. I grew up in Bauda, Kathmandu. And I think I was 8 years old. I was in my bed. There was no electricity. And the dark of the night, a very mystical sound I heard. It was so, something so magical that changed my life. So before that, I think I was just a kid trying to,
An 8-year-old.
8-year-old, yeah. I'm still looking for that sound. I'm still longing for that sound. And in that process of looking for that sound, I got to meet all this beautiful sound. I'm actually sure that was the sound I heard is Lord Krishna playing flute. And that's my inspiration still now to look, how could something can be so beautiful?
Right. I can visualize, as you talk, I'm visualizing an 8-year-old around a very, a very picturesque and a very rich setting like Baudanath, running around playing with his mates, probably marble or chungi or something like that, right?
Totally.
And then you grew up in this city, so vibrant, with so sounds, right? Temples, bells, monasteries.
Monasteries.
And there's silence as well, the streets, right?
Yep.
When did you actually realize this was not only a sound of the background, but your calling?
When we do something like a project. There's a process. The music, I'm talking about the inner music. You know, of course, the world has everything has a sound. Even there's no sound, there's a sound. You know, there's a live sound, there is not a live sound. Even the noise is a sound in the right context. Noise can be music in the right place, no? Since I was a little kid, I have a very distinct clarity of a different sound in my ear. To have the clarity in that sound, the shades of sound, you know, the longing for it, the motivation to look for that sound, that connection, whatever you call it. You can say my spiritual awakening, but that's what made me.
So it was natural and inborn to you. Right?
Yeah, and that's a process of looking for instruments and people and music.
And how did training and technique happen to you? At what age?
My house is in front of Bodhanath Stupa. In my third floor, I look as the eyes of Buddha looking at me. Prayer flags are fluttering, the Tibetan horns, the monastic sound, the prayer wheels. Can you imagine? To able to just be there, to just witness that as a kid. And, just walk down, you go to Pasupatinath there, sit in front of, all the sadhus and the ghats. It's for a kid to have that experience, to realize our life is so precious. And same time, it's not something to have the ego for it, because everyone has to somehow, to able to see that. It taught me so much, Shivani. It taught me so much to be who I am today. It's taught to, we have seen what teaches us who we are in the depth. Who am I? Real me. Who Shivani? Who Manoj? Who real I am? That's a beautiful question to ask.
Right. So the large part of what you are today, or what you have been able to cater to the world, is the surroundings that you grew up in. That's exactly what you're trying to say.
It is really influenced by that. I'm very grateful for that.
When did you actually realize that this is going to be your language for the world for the rest of your life?
I never thought I would take this journey as a profession. I never even, I could just play a note in the bamboo flute, my bansuri, just one note, all day, and get so satisfied inside. And I would hear, it will melt me so deep inside. I'm so happy. Wow, how could something be so beautiful? And that also drive me to practice. Again, look, there's a motivation and there's a drive for practice, which was, nobody's telling me to do that. It was the inner fire. Inner fire, oh my God. I'll wake up first thing, I'll think about practicing. I'll go to bed, think about practicing next morning. It's like total in love.
So you're drawn to it naturally.
Oh my God, I could not stop. I just practice I would practice for let's say 6-7 hours a day or 8 hours a day. Even in my sleep, I will be practicing. In my thoughts, this. And so practice sort of drove me to the places that people started to recognize me. Oh wow, this guy is not normal. He's not normal at all. So, I was very fortunate. Kirateswar Sangeetashram is one of the pioneer place that was started the full moon concert, devotional music and plus Nepali Shastriya Sangeet, last 35 years. So every full moon they do the free concerts. So I was able to meet my teacher there, Sri Madandev Bhatta. He saw the potential on me and he started to you need to learn. Wow, to find a teacher with that drive, my God. Now, Swargiya Homnath Upadhyay, he was, one of my influence then. And then I met Dr. Devesh Chandra Regmi, all these people, Atul Gautam, And these are the, the pillars that time to kind of bring me to this music scene. And I started coming to Radio Nepal, Nepal Television then, and slowly finding my way. Actually, the music can make a proportion. They start to understand, wow, people want me to come play with them, and they want me to pay. I remember playing for one project for that German, what is it, Goethe Institute.
Goethe Institute,
yes,
right,
and
right.
I played in that time Royal Academy, we used to call that. And after the concert we did, my part was just 5 minutes playing, and they handed me 7,000 rupees. That was lots of money then. And I thought it was a mistake.
Oh my God. This must have been like almost 3 decades ago, was it?
Yes,
wow.
yes.
You must have been a kid then.
I was a kid. I was like a 17,
teenager
18.
probably,
yeah,
right?
17, 18, and I'll do music every day just because I love it so much. And it heals me. As you know, music has so much healing power. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about your signature instrument, Basuri. So deceptively simple it is, right?
Yes.
Right. Just a bamboo and breath.
That's right.
At least for a layman like me who is not like an expert in music. Why did something so minimal as Basuri, as we see it, felt so powerful enough for you to carry it as an instrument to express yourself?
That's a beautiful question. Basuri is not just a Nepali thing. It goes everywhere in the world. Everywhere. If you really look in the history of the flute, the oldest instrument they have found so far in the world is a flute. It's made out of bone.
Really?
Isn't that amazing? So something with the wind, with the breath, and going through the cylinder, and even like Bhagwan Krishna. He's playing it.
What is this thing? I've heard and read so much about, the Krishna element of your musical journey somewhere. I don't exactly remember where. What is this element about your musical journey and the fascination with the
I'm
Basuri?
inspired by very much of Mahabharata, and what Krishna was guiding Arjuna. I get, life is a book. You have a choice to believe or not, whatever it is. But personally, it helps me to bring that Krishna element in my music, And when I close my eyes, when I play, brings me to the place of non-duality. Wherever I go, wherever I play in Japan or Chile or you name it, on 2 notes I play, energy shifts. I don't have to speak a language. I don't have to worry about how I look. I don't have to worry about my color of my skin. I would love to see the world that, they celebrate. Just each culture can celebrate their
right.
And
the universality of it, the harmony it disseminates.
Exactly.
I can't really wait, Manoj, for you to pick that flute out there and do that magic. I don't feel the need and the urge to, speak more and just let this flow, because this, I believe, is a music coming from a soul, meant to cater to the soul, right? In this age, Manoj, where majority of the artists who are what you call chasing mastery in whatever they're undertaking,
That's
you
right.
seem to have chased meaning.
That's the thing. More you know, less you know. I learn every day. Again, I learn from everyone. There's a sound. Let's say there's a 7 sound, Sat Sur we call, Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa. So within that, all the music, whatever here, it's inside that thing. But how mysterious it is for me is what is audible and what is not audible. It just because you cannot hear, it's not audible. It doesn't exist. You know what I mean? For example, what we see right now is a certain frequency. For example, if you put a grasshopper, it will see the ultraviolet, but we won't. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist there. Our existence is so mysterious, and we think this is it. Oh my God, you're wrong. You're wrong. And so more you know, less you know, because it's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. And again, I'm coming back to sorry to bring in again the spirituality in the geopod, but that's where I surrender. What else?
How much music helps to dig deeper?
The power of music can really help to people to open their heart. We talk about compassion, we talk about karuna, we can talk about, unity. So how to bring together a people in a place that there's no fear, complete trust. The world is a mess because they cannot trust each other. You cannot trust. I don't know why people not trusting each other. Personally, I think there is enough for everyone. There's plenty is given to us. But somehow we are. Maybe it's a human thing, We are afraid that we don't have enough. But music, I play for you. It's not going to cost anything, We share. My experience of going around the world, music and cooking together, that's going to bring the world together. So we need to share our culture, our music, our food, but the uniqueness of what we have, it needs to be preserved.
Right.
It so need to be preserved. Otherwise, like for example, I was in Egypt a couple of years ago. All those temples are there, amazing temples. But there's no worshippers. They're just tourists. A temple without worship. Sometimes I worry about our country in that way. Can you imagine people stop going around Pashupati and Bodha and they just stay on their phone? My God.
Not everybody who comes to that seat, Manoj, talks with this intensity. Manoj, your journey took you far beyond Nepal. So you're currently based in?
I'm based in very near Silicon Valley in California. This place called Santa Cruz. It's a surfing town, beautiful place. And also based here in Kathmandu.
Your audience is wide and large, right? So many among these audiences, I believe, do not really understand the cultural or the musical or the linguistic roots that your work is coming from. What do you think they're connecting with?
We're all trying to get some love. That's it, at the end. When you're the mother, the child, we're looking for mother's attention, and mother looks at the child, and that karuna, mamata we call it, that's love. Just the facial expression of a child can release the oxytocin in your body, and that you have that caring energy for that child.
You're just the trigger.
Yeah, it's a for example, I just want to pick in geopod, like in this global world we live in. I mean, internet was created in USA, isn't it? If internet was not created, the world would be very, very different now. No, there is a plus, there is a positive side of it. The world has become very small in the information matter, but same time, we are feeling away from each other. We are feeling more separated. I wonder why. And it's so interesting. So I'm telling this to myself as well. We need to connect more in inner net, not internet.
That's a wonderful way of putting it, right?
I know. This is how it is.
And
it's amazing.
We've sort of lost touch of the internet owing to the internet, right?
Exactly.
So we need to reverse that.
Everyone is in the phone. Everyone. That's what one thing that disappoints me. It's everyone is so distracted. So distracted. Even me.
How difficult is it for creators like you? How has internet affected creators like you?
Oh, it's very disappointing some point, because the good things doesn't get to seen. The bad things get spiked right away. That's the human psychology of survival. What sells? Violence sells. Sex sells. So people are so put into that plate of survival, they cannot think of anything else, because they have to think of what they're gonna make next day, what they're gonna feed their children next day. If you're in that place, how can you think about being a wonderful unity place and creating music? There's no time. So for example, if there is too many dishes in your plate, then you're not going to appreciate any food, because you don't know what to eat.
About your work, Manoj, your work is happening in a very, very unique space, a rare space. That's how I see it. Between Nepali folk music to Indian classical raga, and then there's also one of the very prominent part is the global spiritual element that you incorporate in your music, right? It's so rare, so unique, and so beautiful. Just out of curiosity, did you ever feel the pressure to simplify your sound for wider acceptance?
That's one of my advantages of being in the West and able to play the bansuri. The way I played was it was almost like hybrid. I could play the way that was soothing for Western ears, because when I moved to US, it was around like in 1998, 2000, the yoga culture was very booming. And when I started to play, some of those all the kirtans and the spiritual song, it was incorporated even into movies, big movie, Matrix and all this, they would use the Sanskrit mantras and all this in their background music, and so you can play the same note. For example, just give you a little bit of an example, Sudan, of this. Sounds very Nepali.
Right.
And it could be on the mountain. But if I say...
That's the signature of Manoj Newana.
So if I play same flute, but I'll... It sounds very different. It sounds very more towards, Scottish, Irish,
Right.
that sound. Because the way they they play and how they incorporate the accent, the textures, is very different. Again, I'm coming back to the same. What kind of spectrum you are listening into? What you are, when the kid was bacha, when they are conceived, the first organ developed was hearing. Yeah. So it's so interesting that the kids are listening all the things. The blueprint of that kid is deciding then what mom is listening. Isn't that amazing? And other thing, when you take a last breath, when you're dying, the last sense that's going to lose is also hearing. So you'll think the person is dead, but actually you'll be listening still, because that's the last sense you will have. So listening is such a big power.
Right, you're taking me to various zones. I thought I'd be talking about music and diplomacy, but here I am transported to some metaphysical. But this is wonderful to know. I can really gauge the intensity of a creator's mind and the creator's soul, right? Such a wonderful and warming conversation this has begun. And this is also making me wonder, when you perform abroad, Manoj, do you think primarily of the music, or are you always aware about your presence, Nepal, or audience? What is that awareness level when you really perform?
Well, to have this wonderful instrument, which is Nepali instrument, that's already, people are already, like the way I play, because of, again, why Manoj then? Why people want Manoj's sound? Because I'm so blessed, I'm grateful to Pashupatinath and Bodhanath. I had a advantage of somehow I could play that I can make my own accent that's soothing to the Western ear. Yesterday I got a call from Hollywood. They needed a track. Why they call me, There's so many flute players out there because they heard me and they like my accent. And there is so I'm grateful to that, because I was flexible. I didn't say this is my way and I'm going to stay that way, And I'm glad that I was able to, practice with the people and who are very open-minded, and in music you have to be open-minded.
As a creator, from what I read from you from this very, very short conversation I had, the ability to blend into the vastness of music or the earth itself is very, very important.
It's very important
for a creator.
Very, very important. Coming to Nepal, for me, it inspires me so much. Tomorrow I would request you one thing, Shivani. The first sound you will hear in your bed in the morning, the first sound when you wake up, notice that sound, if you can. The first tweet of the bird, which awakes the whole world, that tweet.
How does that make a difference?
Well, you'll know it.
You'll have to
I cannot explain. Because that tweet is such a gentle tweet, but it's the most powerful tweet.
What is the power of music that political narratives don't?
So what kind of ripple you're going to create, how we're going to create, what are those elements going to help you? It all depends on that. And music is, again, it's music. Nobody can stop music, Music, the real music comes between the notes. It's the silence. I would love to see Nepal hosting World Music Festival. I would love to see that. Bringing some amazing musicians and bringing. I remember going to Indonesia a long time ago, and the government has initiated this festival, and they want all the instruments that made out of bamboo. And they chose me to be part of it. And everybody bringing the bamboo instruments, you know, from drums to it was. So I want to request to our government and people who influence to bring world stage, give them a platform so they could celebrate. They can learn from here as well as collaborate with the musicians here. And not just music, dance, and cuisines, and you know, like we have so much to offer.
Do you not think Nepal lags hugely on the confidence side when it comes to music, that we largely wait for external validation?
That's our part of our culture, I would say. You know, like the one that say the expectation. You know, myself. You know, in my family, we are so not saying that we need to do it ourselves and we're going to do it. We think, oh, maybe my dad will do it or my mother will do it. It's something that the expectation culture we have. That, you know, that kind of attitude. But Ian, it's now we need to move ahead. We need to open that door and it's not just, and confidence comes again from the claiming our culture. We need to claim back our culture. We're so influenced by everything West is great. You know, everything comes from West is great. You know, there are great things about West, but we have also so many amazing things we have. We need to claim it, and then we can exchange. We can teach them. For example, you know, like yoga. All this come from our culture, isn't it? No. Now, I'm bringing my friend who's a yoga teacher who is teaching yoga to us. So, you know, you see that. That's so we need to.
How can you do it? Like looking at your journey, what possibilities do you see if Nepal chooses to engage more internationally? You know, how can we do it?
You know, I just saw this documentary about our queen, Lakpa Sherpa.
Right.
My God, it touched my heart so much. A single woman coming from a mountain, fighting all the way to, you know, this is patriarchal society with her Western husband to, you know, like she never gave up, found her stage in the world. She plowed through. Nobody could stop her. No, this is the country where Buddha chose to be born. You know, he could have gone born anywhere, but he chose here. This is the place. We have so much to offer to the world. We have so many amazing. Nepali people are so resilient. They travel to find a better life for their family. They sacrifice everything. They go work so hard in 60 degrees Celsius heat. They climb mountains that no oxygen. They, they go fight for others' war. You know, it's been like that for centuries. Now that needs to be stopped.
Right.
We need to work together. We need to come together as a brothers and sisters and put away all the differences, and make one song together. Song together, we can all sing. Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Right, wonderfully said. Manoj, let's talk about the Grammy moment. What was it like?
Oh my God. Well, you know, it was 2020. I've been very blessed to also to collaborate with some Westerner musicians. One of them was Deva Pramal and Miten. They were, you know, Miten and Deva, they were very inspired by Eastern philosophy. Also, actually, they were very inspired by Osho's world. And through that, they got to learn a lot about the mantras and the beauty of what our music can bring to the people, the serenity, the healing power of music. So when they heard I'm playing the flute in such a unique way. They thought, wow, this boy is good, you know. So I started to collaborate with them, travel with them for almost like 15, 16 years. I've traveled to so many places. And through them, their platform, I've really I've reached out to many people in the different countries. And one of the album that we did together was actually Ravi Shankar's daughter, Anushka Shankar, is also guest artist in the album. And it was very lucky that we are. I mean, it deserved it. It was amazingly produced. And when I went to Los Angeles to be there with 10,000 people in the Staple Arena, it was amazing. I wore a Nepali dress and put instead of kukri, I put my bansuri.
Wow. Did it by any chance change you as a musician?
I don't believe in the place that you have to give an award to recognize music, you know. The music again, the music I play, it doesn't need anybody's validation. Music is so powerful, you know, and we all have our own songs. Nobody can tell you you're not singing well, or you're not good enough. No, that's so wrong. So I want everybody find their own voice. So never tell your kid that you cannot sing. You say you sing. You have an amazing voice, you know, and you practice, it'll come to you.
From what I see, Manoj, is you're not only disseminating or giving away the things that you have in your soul, right? You're also gathering a lot of things in pieces, maybe in substance, and those that are intangible, from places that you travel and that you do intensively, right? So if you could walk us through a few, I'm sure our audience are going to love it.
Yeah, well, let me see, what can I do? I call this one Kachua.
Huh? Okay.
Look like a Kachua, no?
That's a Nepali name for it.
Nepali name, Kachua.
Okay.
But this one particularly comes from Russia. It's a part of, it's somewhere in mid-Russia. It's very beautifully carved, and they call it hand pan. It's quite popular nowadays. And yeah, I can play this for a little bit, huh?
Who would imagine something that looks so simple as this can do wonders?
If you look at it, it's all the bells put together. Like singing bowls, you know, it's, I'm sure you have gone to some sound healing. Basically, the sound of singing bowls, bells. Sounds like a bell. Beautiful, no? Your blood pressure will be down, your heart rate would be down, and you're in a place of just pure awareness. That's what we want.
As we head forward towards wrapping up this conversation,
Yeah.
Manoj, anything still unfinished for you, creativity or philosophically?
That's a beautiful question. You know, for me, it's now the practice is being present. You know, I don't long for, I want to, you know, win Grammy next, or I want to go that. It's again, it's just my fantasy now is more to practice to be present, to how to be present with myself, to improve, how to be more mindfulness, and how to create music that helps others. You know, like you don't need to You don't need to, change. I don't think you can change the country. It's not a. I think it's good to start with your own home. Your own room. Can you do some changes in your own room? So I'm working in my own room.
Fixing your internet. That's going to be.
If I can fix myself, maybe I can think of, it's 40 plus year now. I realize the world is not going to be perfect. The fantasy we think, I don't think that's going to, there's always going to be something. Always. Just like the road I live in Bodh, there always somebody's digging for the last 30 years.
And you don't know what
it's so funny. They build the perfect road, and next day they're already digging it. God,
and that never ends.
So I just okay, you
so
can't
this is
beat
not
them,
going to
just
end.
join them
and finish the work.
I know. So that's where I am.
That was a beautiful anecdote that you ended with. Well, words can take us this far. We know we can go on and on, but for now, thank you so much, Manoj, for coming over, sharing with us with this. I really am falling short of words, and I'm just wishing that I would have learned a few of these notes so that I could speak better to you, right?
Well, your voice, again, remember, it's not the instrument you're playing. It's every moment, every breath. Every breath is so amazing. Think about your breath, how powerful it is. I would like to bring again the spirituality in our breath. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. When you inhale, that's a Brahma, the creator. When you inhale the breath, the oxygen, the lungs, nerves are going to take up, oxygens. That's the Vishnu, it's the sustainer. If you don't breathe, you'll die. In 5 minutes, you're dead. No? And when you exhale, all the carbon dioxide, the things that you don't need, it's coming out. That's Maheshwar. That's transformation. So every breath, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, Brahma, Vishnu. I tell you, Shivani, it will change your day completely. It will change you. It will change your friends. It will change your family. You just live in a total gratefulness.
Thank you, Manoj, so much. And I'm already thinking we'll need another session of interview to talk spirituality, which is again one signature of Manoj Neva. Right. You'll have to be back for that. For now, thank you so much for the great wealth of insight and the depth of, the soul that you bring to this interview.
Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you here.
Hope to see you again.
Hopefully, for sure. It's a promise. Power does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives quietly through breath, as Manoj Neva so explicitly explains. Of course, bamboo, the magic bamboo that he brought us here, and memory. Manoj Neva reminds us that long before nations speak, they sound. Thank you for joining us on Geopod. See you next week.
Kathmandu has long been known as a place where natural beauty, history, culture, and spirituality come together in remarkable harmony. Rising above the western side of the valley stands Swayambhunath, one of Nepal's most revered and ancient sites. Many simply call it Swayambhu. For countless generations, it has been a sanctuary of spiritual devotion, a place where the first light of morning touches the prayer flags and where monks and devotees begin their day in meditation and worship. Swayambhu is cherished by Buddhists from all over the world, yet it holds equal significance for many Hindus. This shared reverence creates a rare sense of unity within its sacred grounds.
Long before the birth of Lord Buddha, Sakyamuni, Buddhist tradition teaches that countless Buddhas have appeared in the universe and countless more will arise. Some teachings say that within the entire lifespan of this world system, many Buddhas, sometimes described as 1,000, will descend to guide beings. Among these, it is believed that 1,000 Buddhas are destined to visit and bless this sacred site. This Swayambhu Chaitya is said to have manifested during the era of the fourth Buddha of this world cycle. According to our scriptures, that Buddha descended from the heavens and alighted upon Nagarjuna hill. At that time, the Kathmandu valley was not land as we see today. It was a vast, tranquil lake. From within those waters, only the self-arisen Swayambhu appeared, standing above the surface like a radiant jewel. When the Buddha and his disciples saw this natural, elevated form, they marveled at its purity and power. What we see today from the outside, the golden spire, the dome, the painted eyes, is not the whole of it. Beneath these layers lies a perfectly pure, self-manifested Chaitya, said to be like luminous white metal, untouched by time. It arose spontaneously for the welfare of all beings. Those who come to Swayambhu with sincerity, who bow, circumambulate, or simply offer a moment of devotion, are believed to receive blessings that ease suffering, bring good fortune, and ultimately guide them toward liberation. The compassionate eyes of the Buddha, painted on all four sides, are a reminder that the Buddha's loving gaze extends to all living beings, humans, animals, birds, insects, every form of life. The Buddha wishes that all beings be free from suffering, that they find peace, and that no harm comes to anyone. The essence of the Buddha's message is simple: cultivate virtue, avoid causing harm, and keep the mind pure. If one person becomes peaceful, that peace naturally spreads to others. This is the heart of the Buddha's teachings.
The origins of Swayambhunath stretch back at least 2.5 millennia. Inscriptions and centuries-old statues found throughout the site testify to its long-standing presence and its profound cultural importance. The stupa itself is one of Nepal's traditional religious landmarks, crowned by the serene eyes of the Buddha that gaze out across all four directions. These eyes are regarded as a message of compassion, awareness, and peace for all beings. For Buddhists, the stupa and its symbols become a guide toward understanding the teachings of the Buddha. For Hindu visitors, the temples and images of deities within the complex hold deep spiritual meaning of their own.
In Buddhism, each month contains 5 significant sacred days. The 8th day, Ashtami, is considered especially important. On this day, we recite the teachings of the Medicine Buddha for healing and protection. The 10th day, Dasami, is dedicated to Vajraguru Padmasambhava. The full moon is honored with equal reverence and associated with the blessings of Vajrayogini. The new moon is dedicated to Mahakala, the great protector. It is believed that worship performed on these days yields vast merit and profound results. The Buddha's teachings remind us that beings have existed since beginningless time, and the cycle of life has no absolute start or end. What truly matters is learning how to live with compassion, harmony, and happiness, here and now.
In 1989, Swayambhunath was formally recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, an honor that elevated Nepal's cultural identity on the global stage and helped protect this extraordinary place for future generations.
I'm from America. I was driving past and I saw the temple with the monkeys and I really wanted to know what that was, so I looked it up and I came here today to see the temple and all the monkeys.
First of all, we went to Nepal because we love this country and we wanted to see the environment. As Swayambhunath, we heard it's very important for the Nepali people, so we want to see how it is and how people, what people do here and how it looks like.
We heard it's a beautiful place to go, and we really should see it. And so I think we just walk up and see all the beauty of this place.
The surroundings of Swayambhu offer many places of interest. Pilgrims and travelers often find themselves captivated by the calm atmosphere and the panoramic views over the Kathmandu Valley. The architecture of the complex reflects a graceful blend of Nepali and Tibetan influences. The stupa follows ancient Nepali design traditions, while the monasteries and retreat houses that surround it reflect elements of Tibetan craftsmanship. These two styles together give Swayambhunath a distinctive character found nowhere else. Preserving Swayambhu is not only a religious responsibility, it is an effort guided equally by historical and cultural commitment. The temples, statues, and inscriptions within the complex carry stories that span centuries. The main stupa, crowned by the four compassionate eyes, remains the heart of the site. Monks gather each day to meditate and study. Within these halls, elaborate paintings and sacred sculptures portray episodes from the life of the Buddha and remind visitors of the spiritual traditions that continue to flourish here. The entrance to Swayambhunath features a gate designed to convey purity and reverence. Sculptures and painted figures on the gate reveal the guiding ideals of Buddhist philosophy. Scattered around the grounds are ancient inscriptions that preserve the history of the land. Statues of various Buddhas stand alongside images of Parvati and Shiva, creating a space where cultural diversity and shared devotion coexist with harmony. Swayambhunath is one of Nepal's most visited destinations. Its landscapes, spiritual gravity, and cultural richness draw people from around the world. Each year, millions of visitors, both local and international, climb the steps leading toward the stupa. Their presence contributes greatly to Nepal's tourism economy and to the livelihoods of those who live and work nearby.
स्वयम्भुनाथ परिसरमा रहेका स्मृति सामग्रीहरू जस्तै बुद्धका मूर्ति, थाङ्का, मालाहरू, गहना, धार्मिक सामग्रीहरूले व्यवसाय गर्ने व्यवसायीहरूको जीविकोपार्जन भइरहेको छ।
The number of tourists has increased significantly compared to previous years. Earlier, we used to have clear off-seasons, but now we see international visitors throughout the year. However, their spending capacity has dropped to less than what we used to get before. In the past, if a group of 30 tourists came into our shops, at least 20 of them would buy something. Today, only 2 or 3 of them make a purchase out of the same-sized group. Visitors also compare prices more carefully now, mainly because similar goods are widely available elsewhere. This shop is our family's livelihood, so these changes affect us deeply.
Craftspeople and merchants sell ritual objects, tankas, prayer beads, and other items used in Buddhist practice. These items connect not only with Nepali devotees, but also with those from Buddhist communities in China, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and beyond.
It has been about 7 years since I started my business along the circumambulation route of Swayambhu. Visitors are drawn here mainly because of the deep religious significance of this place. There are many gumbas and temples in the area, and Swayambhunath itself is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These species are revered by both Buddhists and Hindus, and it is this shared devotion that keeps the entire area vibrant and full of life.
The earthquake of 2015 brought significant destruction to Swayambhunath. Several structures collapsed and many priceless sculptures were damaged. The impact on the site's cultural heritage was deeply felt throughout the country. Yet, the response to this tragedy revealed the strength of the community. Local residents, government agencies, cultural experts, monks, and international organizations came together to restore the complex. The rebuilding process became more than a physical reconstruction. It became a spiritual effort guided by devotion and the hope of preserving peace and compassion for future generations. Today, visitors find improved pathways, restored shrines, and safe spaces from which to explore the site. Nearby, guest houses and small hotels offer comfortable places to stay for those who wish to spend more time experiencing the surroundings. For many, Swayambhu is not only a religious landmark but a symbol of introspection and inner calm. The peaceful environment encourages reflection. The sacred presence of the stupa gives visitors a sense of quiet strength. The eyes of the Buddha seem to guide those who come seeking balance, clarity, or a moment of stillness. As the sun rises, its light glimmers on the golden pinnacle of the stupa. And as the night falls, the view of Kathmandu from this hilltop feels almost otherworldly, as though the city below is touched by a gentle glow. Swayambhunath continues to stand as a reminder of the spiritual harmony that has shaped Nepal for centuries. It invites every visitor to pause, to breathe, and to discover a deeper part of themselves.
Welcome to the Hinterlands. This weekly show brings together stories from the hinterlands of Nepal, takes you beyond the cities and highways into the heart of Nepal's rural landscapes. I am Rosina Rai and we will be leading you into this journey every week. Welcome back. We begin this episode of the Hinterlands with a heartfelt reminder. Love is endless, unconditional, and timeless. While Valentine's Day is often marketed to the young, a celebration in adjoining district of Kathmandu, Nepal is proving romance only grows richer with age. From the dance floor to the heart, senior couples redefined what it truly means to grow old together.
Love transcends age, and in Nepal, the celebration of love is no longer just for the young. It is for the young at heart. On Valentine's Day, observed around the world every February 14 as a celebration of romance and affection, the historic city of Lalitpur in Nepal's Kathmandu Valley witnessed a heartwarming scene. Instead of candlelight dinners for young couples, it was senior citizens aged 60 and above who took to the dance floor, smiling, laughing, and celebrating decades of companionship. The event brought together elderly couples who have spent a lifetime building families and communities. Many held hands as they danced, others exchanged flowers and warm embraces, proving that love deepens with time. In a society where older generations are deeply respected, the celebration carried a powerful message. Affection and appreciation should not fade with age. The program was organized by the Academy of Culinary Arts Management with a special purpose to honor senior citizens and strengthen intergenerational harmony in Nepali society.
विगतमा चाहिँ यसपालि पनि यो ज्येष्ठ नागरिकहरूको चाहिँ एउटा भ्यालेन्टाइनको आयोजना गरेको छौं जहाँ चाहिँ कि 60 प्लस तर स्टिल रोमान्सिङ भन्ने एउटा टिममा र यसको मूलभूत उसको उद्देश्य भनेको चाहिँ प्रत्येक जोडीको कुनै न कुनै समयमा भरपूर माया हुन्छ तर जीवनकालमा जीवनलाई जिउने क्रममा आफ्नो बच्चा हुर्काउँदै गर्दाखेरि काम गरेर जाँदाखेरि त्यो माया चाहिँ बिर्सिरहेको हुँदो रहेछ के धेरै जनाको चाहिँ र त्यो मायालाई एकचोटी फेरि पुनः जागरण गर्ने उद्देश्यले चाहिँ हामीले यो कार्यक्रम आयोजना गरेको हौं.
Participants said the event made them feel remembered and valued at a stage in life when celebrations are often rare.
रमाइलो लाग्छ अब यस्तो उत्सव जस्तो हैन मनाउन पाएर हैन अब बुढाबुढीले पनि मनाउनु पर्छ नि अब आफ्नो चाहिँ रमाउनको लागि पनि हैन एक आपसमा रमाउनलाई पनि चाहिन्छ.
Nepal, a country known for its strong family bonds and cultural traditions, is seeing a growing awareness about the well-being and dignity of senior citizens. Events like this not only spread joy, but also send a broader message that love is timeless, gratitude matters, and every generation deserves to be celebrated. Because in the end, love is not measured in years, but in the moments shared at every age.
After the heartwarming report of elderly lovebirds spotted on 14th of February, we now turn our attention to a true emblem of Nepal's unique wildlife, the spiny babbler bird found in central Dhading, Nepal, and locally known as Kare Bhakur. This rare bird is more than just a species. It is a powerful symbol of Nepal's natural heritage. As the only bird species endemic to Nepal, the spiny babbler highlights the country's rich biodiversity and underscores Nepal's vital role in global conservation efforts. The spiny babbler, locally known as Kare Bhakur in Nepal, is a rare bird species that requires protection. This medium-sized brown bird thrives in forests above 1200 meters and is native to the middle hills of Nepal. First described in 1836, it was once thought to be extinct, but is now recognized as a non-migratory resident that inhabits shrubby, thorny bushes areas in various districts of Nepal. Found only in Nepal, the spiny babbler has become a symbol of the country's rich natural heritage. Recognizing its importance, the Division Forest Office Dhading has launched an awareness campaign in Siddha Lake Rural Municipality to educate local communities about the need to protect this unique species. Supported by the Bagmati province government, the initiative aims not only to conserve the spiny babbler, but also to strengthen environmental stewardship in the region. The program focuses on local community members who rely on community forest, teaching them how they can play an active role in protecting their forest and the birds. Through workshops and community discussions, people are learning about forest conservation, biodiversity, and practical steps to safeguard the spiny babbler, ensuring that this emblem of Nepal's natural heritage continues to thrive forever. The spiny babbler, Kare bhakur, is most commonly seen in the Nalang area of Siddha Lake, though it has also been spotted in Kathmandu, Lalitpur, Chitwan, and Tanahu. Locals recall a time when the birds were hunted due to a lack of awareness about their ecological value. Today, thanks to awareness programs and proactive leadership, efforts are underway to ensure that the spiny babbler is protected. Protecting this bird will definitely help preserve regional biodiversity, safeguard the environment, and provide broader ecological benefits. Moving to the next story, and this Reports of the Hinterlands offers more than a glimpse of Nepal's upcoming elections. It tells the story of the remote hills and the people often overlooked by political leaders and authorities struggle to receive their voter ID cards. As Nepal approaches the House of Representatives elections on March 5th, debates over voter ID distribution are growing louder in Sangza. Many citizens have voiced frustration, reporting that they were unable to cast their votes because their ID cards did not arrive on time. Next month, Nepal will vote to elect a new batch of House of Representatives, and the country is already immersed in the fervor of election, with candidates busy canvassing and electoral bossy making last-minute preparations. But amid all the fiesta, one community of Belchor, a village in the western Nepal, Sangza, are likely to miss their voting franchise this time. The reason is no voter identification card. Sangza district is home to a total of 1,189 members of the Mazi community, and 8 out of 49 members of the Mazi community are currently unable to vote in this year's elections. Previously, many in the Mazi community were prevented from voting simply because they lacked the required identification.
हाम्रो भोटिङ कार्ड बनिएको छ, हामी एकदम खुसी छौं। अरु नबनेकाको पनि बनाइदिन पर्यो। हामी बनेकाले पाइन्छ भोट हाल्न।
Although persistent efforts in the past from the community have helped 31 villagers to receive their voter ID cards, bringing renewed hope and excitement this year, the situation of the marginalized community reflects a larger picture in other parts of the country who, despite being eligible by age, are unable to cast ballots just because of lack of document. A major reason behind this issue is systematic hurdles, documentation issue, and lack of information about voter ID registration, including the process and timeline. In Nepal's democracy, every citizen's right to vote is not just a privilege, it is also the responsibility of the state to ensure it. Denying this right further make worse the challenges faced by marginalized communities, placing them at a double disadvantage. Timely distribution of voter ID cards is essential so that communities like the Mazi can fully participate in shaping the future of their nation. Nepal has made significant progress in child health over the past 2 decades, but it remains off track to meet its place under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to cut under 5 mortality to as low as 20 deaths per 1,000 live births by 2030. Let's dig deeper.
In the quiet hills and plains of Sudur Paschim province, the first cry of a newborn does not always promise a future. According to the latest Nepal Multiple Indicator Clusters Survey, NMICS, published by the National Statistics Office, 26 newborns die per 1,000 live births in Sudur Paschim. When measured up to the age of 1 year, that number rises to 38 infant deaths per 1,000 births, the highest among Nepal's 7 provinces. Even more alarming, 48 children out of every 1,000 die before reaching their 5th birthday. Provincial Health Directorate data shows that 86 newborns have already died in Sudur Paschim by mid-December of the current fiscal year. Last fiscal year, 156 newborns died. The previous year saw 237 infant deaths. District-wise, Kailali reports the highest numbers. In the last fiscal year alone, 22 newborns died in Kailali, followed by 14 in Kanchanpur and 12 in Achang. Deaths were also recorded across Bajhang, Bajura, Darchula, Doti and Baitari. In just the first 6 months of the current fiscal year, 32 newborn deaths have already been recorded in Kailali. The rising numbers have sparked questions about the effectiveness of maternal and child health programs.
कुपोषण अनि हाम्रो स्वास्थ्य सेवाको पहुँच, स्वास्थ्य सेवाको गुणस्तरता अनि त्यसै गरी अब हामीका बाल विवाहको त्यस्तै खालको समस्या छ हैन अनि छोटो सानो उमेरमा चाहिँ गर्भवती हुने खालको समस्याहरू छ त्यसै गरी चाहिँ महिलाको चाहिँ स्वास्थ्य शिक्षामा पहुँचका कुराहरू छन् यी विविध कुराहरूले अन्डर 5 मोर्टालिटी रेटलाई सुदूरपश्चिम प्रदेशमा बढावा दिएको चाहिँ
Provincial health data shows geography plays a major role. Sudur Paschim has some of Nepal's most remote settlements where reaching a hospital can take hours, sometimes days. However, provincial authorities say interventions are underway.
बाल बच्चाहरूको स्वास्थ्यको लागि एउटा CBIMNCI भन्ने छ समुदायमा आधारित बाल रोगको एकीकृत व्यवस्थापन कार्यक्रम त्यो चाहिँ आधारभूत स्वास्थ्य सेवा केन्द्र प्राथमिक स्वास्थ्य सेवा केन्द्र त्यसपछि स्वास्थ्य चौकीहरुबाट त्यो सञ्चालन भइराछ भने अस्पताल स्तरबाट चाहिँ YPIMNCI भन्छ फेसिलिटी बेस्ड यो बाल रोगको एकीकृत व्यवस्थापन कार्यक्रम त्यो पनि अस्पताल स्तरबाट चाहिँ सुचारू भइराछ र बाल बच्चाहरूको अरु विभिन्न कार्यक्रम जस्तो खोपले पनि बाल बच्चाको स्वास्थ्यलाई प्रवर्धन गर्छ.
Despite these assurances, overall statistics indicate that infant and child mortality in Sudur Paschim remains a serious public health concern. Health experts say meaningful improvement will require stronger infrastructure, better management of skilled human resources, expansion of safe delivery services, and reliable access to healthcare in remote areas. For many families here, survival still depends not only on birth but on access. Nepal has pledged to meet global sustainable development goals on child survival. However, in provinces like Sudur Paschim, the data suggests that much more needs to be done.
With that report, we come to the end of this episode and we present to you our last story. A story of red coffee cherries in Dhading, a hilly district of Nepal. Farmers are turning coffee into a thriving source of income and their livelihoods. With the growing international demand for Himalayan beans, what was once an experimental crop on steep, barren slopes are now being commercially cultivated across the district, offering a hope and opportunity to local communities.
कफी बारी भनेको यो चाहिँ यो डलर खेती हो जुन आय आर्जनको निम्ति यो विदेशमा पनि निर्यात हुने र स्वदेशमा पनि एउटा यो हाम्रो हिमालय चाहिँ नि के उसको चाहिँ अर्गानिक कफी चाहिँ यो विदेशीहरूले मन पराउनु भएर यो डलर खेती र नगदी बाली तपाईको अन्न बाली भन्दा यो चाहिँ तपाईको लगभग चाहिँ नि 100 गुना बढी चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ यो कफी खेतीले चाहिँ दिन्छ.
The future of coffee cultivation in Nepal looks promising for farmers in Dhading, a hilly district adjoining the federal capital. In Dhading's mid-hill region, farmers are transforming barren slopes into thriving hubs of red coffee cherries. This year alone, the district has produced 3 tons of coffee cherries, signaling the steady growth of the coffee trade in Nepal. What began as an experiment just 4 years ago has evolved into a commercial success. Jamuna and Jwalamukhi rural municipalities together contributed nearly half of this year's production. Previously unfamiliar with coffee cultivation, local farmers have now embraced it as a lucrative source of income. Households are earning up to 500,000 rupees annually from coffee farming. The surge in production has also fueled optimism about meeting growing international demand. While government support has played a role in boosting the coffee sector, farmers in Dhading continue to call for greater assistance, particularly in acquiring processing equipment. Access to better processing facilities would enable them to produce ready-to-sell coffee, reach higher value markets, and increase their earnings. Across the district, around 7 hectares are now dedicated to these high-value crops. Coffee is a potential high-value cash crop, especially in the mid-hills of the country. Although production currently falls short of demand, the sector is poised for growth through expanded cultivation, improved processing technology, and a strategic focus on premium, high-altitude coffee could give a higher yield, say the farmers.
यो कोदो मकै भन्दा चाहिँ अरु खेती भन्दा चाहिँ एकदमै राम्रो उत्पादन दिने यसमा चाहिँ अब गोडमेल गर्नु नपर्ने लाएदेखिबाट अनि अरु मकै र कोदोलाई जति मेहनत धेरै नपर्ने त्यो कारणले.
According to the data, Nepal exports approximately 17 to 25% of its total annual coffee production to countries such as Germany, Japan, and the United States. Despite the rising international demand for high-quality Himalayan beans, Nepal still imports more coffee than it exports. This clearly highlights the gap between production and market potential. Currently, coffee sells for about 1,200 rupees per kilogram, while processed organic coffee can command significantly higher prices. Coffee cultivation on steep and previously barren land has become an exemplary model for other districts with similar geography. Efforts are also underway to expand coffee cultivation in Khanyabas rural municipality in northern Thading. Beyond the cities and the headlines, real life continued to unfold. Stories shaped by struggle, strengthened by resilience, and carried forward by a hope. This is the Hinterlands. We shall see you again next week with a new episode of the Hinterlands. Do follow us on our website www.nepaltelevision.com and our social media handles as well as our YouTube channel. We take a leave. See you in the next episode.
सिमरौनगढ दरबार खुल्ला इतिहास, कला र संस्कृतिको एउटा संग्रहालय। इतिहास, सभ्यता र कलाको रहस्य बोकेको सहर सिमरौनगढ। एउटा छुट्टै इतिहास रच्न सफल सहर सिमरौनगढ। ऐतिहासिक, सांस्कृतिक र पुरातात्विक महत्व बोकेको सिमरौनगढ दरबार मध्य प्रदेशको बारा जिल्लामा अवस्थित सिमरौनगढ नगरपालिकामा पर्दछ। बारा जिल्लाको सदरमुकाम कलैयाबाट 20 किलोमिटर दक्षिण पूर्वमा रहेको सिमरौनगढ नगरपालिकाको कार्यालयबाट करिब 500 मिटर दक्षिण पश्चिम गएपछि सिमरौनगढ दरबार पुग्न सकिन्छ। सिमरौनगढको सम्बन्ध सिमलको वंशसँग रहेको तथ्य नेपालमा प्राप्त सबभन्दा पुरानो वंशावली गोपालर वंशावलीले प्रस्ट्याएको छ। सो वंशावलीमा यस स्थललाई सिमरावनगढ भनी उल्लेख छ, जसको अर्थ हुन्छ सिमलको वनमा रहेको किल्ला। सिमलको वन रहेको यो क्षेत्र सिमरावनगढबाट अपभ्रंश हुँदै सिमरौनगढ भएको मान्यता छ।
यो सिमरौनगढ नाउँ भने यहाँ पहिले सिम्बलको खाली रुख यहाँ सिम्बलको थियो। यो सिम्बलको वन भन्नु पर्यो नि, यहाँ सिम्बलको वन थियो पहिले। यसको माझमा बीचमा नि यो गढ थियो, किला थियो यो गढ। त्यस कारणले सिम्बलगढ भनेर अपभ्रंश भई आएर सिमरौनगढ भन्ने हो। यसको सिमरौनगढको सिम्बलगढको अपभ्रंश हो यो सिमरौनगढ।
कुनै समय एक सुरक्षित र सम्पन्न राजधानी रहेको सिमरौनगढ दरबारलाई बलिया अग्ला चक्रव्यूह आकारका पर्खालले घेरिएको थियो। तत्कालीन राजा वीरेन्द्रबाट यस क्षेत्रको अवलोकन पश्चात पुरातत्व विभाग र इटालियन सरकारको तत्वावधानमा सिमरौनगढको उत्खनन गरियो। उत्खननका क्रममा कर्णाटकालका पुरातात्विक, धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक अवशेषहरू फेला पर्यो। सिमरौनगढका पुराना अवशेषहरू आज पनि यत्रतत्र पाइन्छ। यहाँ डढेको चामल, माटोका भाँडा बर्तन, गरगहनाहरू पाइन्छ।
यहाँको धार्मिक इतिहास र पुरातत्व विभागको त सबै संरचना छँदैछ। यो मन्दिर छ, पुरानो मूर्ति छ, दहीको चावल पाइन्छ, कंगन कालीको स्थान छ, तलेजु भवानीको अहिले शिलाको बाकस राखेको छ, त्यो पनि छँदैछ। चारैतिर सुन बिखरेको पनि पाइन्छ। यो सबै पाइँदाखेरि त पुरातत्व भएन।
यस क्षेत्रको कचरवा गाउँमा माकराकृतिको टुटी भएको धारो हरिपुर गाविसमा रहेको ढुङ्गाको बाकस निकै रहस्यमय छ। जति खन्दै जाँदा झन भित्र भासिनु यस बाकसको विशेषता हो। अत्यन्त कलात्मक रहेको यो बाकसको बाहिरी भाग मात्रै देखिन्छ, बाँकी भाग जमिनमा गाडिएको छ। स्थानीयले यसलाई बाकस, तिजोरी, सन्दुक भने पनि वास्तवमा यो के हो अहिलेसम्म पत्ता लाग्न सकेको छैन।
वो जमाना के शिवाजी महाराज के दरबार के तिजोरी है, पत्थर हो, राज उल्टन हो गए, पत्थर हो गए, ताला कुंडी सब बंद बा, में ताला बात कुंडी बा सब सहित बा।
बाकसको नजिकै खम्बा आकारको कालो ढुङ्गा छ। खम्बा सामान्य देखिए पनि 10-15 जना मिलेर पनि यसलाई टसमस समेत गर्न सक्दैनन्। ढुङ्गाको खम्बा झन रहस्यमय छ। स्थानीयका अनुसार यस खम्बालाई बाहिर निकाल्न खोज्दा यो झन जमिनमा भासिने गर्दछ। यो क्षेत्रमा बाढी आए पनि यो खम्बा डुब्दैन। यस प्रकार सिमरौनगढ क्षेत्र पुरातात्विक दृष्टिकोणले समेत महत्वपूर्ण छ। सिमरौनगढको सांस्कृतिक सम्पदाको दोस्रो स्थानमा यहाँका मन्दिरहरूलाई लिन सकिन्छ। सिमरौनगढको बीच भागमा स्थापना गरिएको कंकाली मन्दिर ईंटद्वारा निर्माण गरिएको शिखर शैलीमा छ। मन्दिर चारैतिर चतुष्कोणाकारको भवनको बीचमा शिखर उठेर माथिसम्म चुलिएको छ। मन्दिरको चारैतिर खुल्ला गुम्बजाकारको प्रवेशद्वार निर्माण गरिएको छ। मन्दिरमा रहेका कंकालीको मूर्ति कालो प्रस्तरमा खोदिएको छ। मूर्तिको गोलाकार अनुहार, ठूला आँखा, पुष्ट छातीले त्यस बेलाको विशेषतालाई दर्शाउँछ। देवीको गालामा हार, कानमा गोलाकार कुण्डल, कम्मरमा हार जडेको च्याप्टो पेटी छ। शान्त सौम्य मुद्रामा रहेको यो मूर्तिले कलामा छुट्टै स्थान ओगटेको छ।
यो सिमरौनगढ भनेको कंकाली स्थान जो कि दुनियाँको सबभन्दा शक्तिपीठ राम्रो जहाँ बलि नै चढ्दैन। यो फेरि कंकालीमा सबै शक्तिपीठमा बलि चढ्छ तर कंकालीमा स्थानमा बलि चढ्दैन। त्यस्तो विशाल मन्दिर अनि यस्तो विशाल मन्दिर राम जानकीको मन्दिर यहाँ दुईटा छ। अनि यसको अलावा पनि यहाँ नानदेवले यानि कि 1097 ईस्वीमा सिमरौनगढलाई राजधानी बनाएको यो नानदेव हो। नानदेवको 7औं पुस्ता जगह त्यसमा हरसिंहदेव, गङदेव, रामदेव सबै 7औं पुस्ता हो। अन्तिम पुस्ता चाहिँ हरसिंहदेव हो। हरसिंहदेवको पालामा ग्यासुद्दिन तुगलकले यहाँ आक्रमण गरेर सबै ध्वस्त पारिदिएको थियो। यस्तो यस्तो पूर्वाधारहरू छ। तैपनि हाम्रो सिमरौनगढमा कसैको नजर छैन। यहाँ त म भन्छु कि यसलाई विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राख्यो भने सबभन्दा राम्रो हुन्छ। यहाँको नेताहरूले यसै माध्यममा भन्छु कि सिमरौनगढलाई विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राख्नु जरुरी छ।
यहाँ रामनवमीको दिन ठूलो मेला लाग्ने गर्दछ। सामान्य रूपमा भक्तजनहरू आउने क्रम दिनहुँ नै रहन्छ। अहिले पनि यो क्षेत्रमा कंकाली माताको ठूलो महिमा छ भनिन्छ। त्यसै गरी चिताएको फल देवीले पूरा गर्छिन् भन्ने जनविश्वास समेत रहेको छ।
पहिलादेखि अहिले यो सालमा धेरै पर्यटक म 2-4बाट यो कामको सिलसिलामा बसेको थियो। शनिबारको दिनौ 1000 देखि 1500 मान्छे बाहिरबाट आउँछ। अब त्यसको लागि पनि हामी व्यवस्थापन गरिराखेका छौँ। त्यहाँ एउटा पूजा अर्चना गर्नको लागि बेलुका बिहानै आरती, जस्तै हरिद्वारमा तपाईँ गयो सक्नुहोला भने हेर्नु होला बिहानै र बेलुका गङ्गाको आरती हुन्छ। त्यहाँ पनि कंकाली मन्दिरमा हामी आरतीको एउटा छिटै व्यवस्था गर्छौँ। अहिले त 2टा बोट पनि राखेका छौँ। मान्छेहरू पर्यटक आउँछ भने त्यसलाई घुम्नको लागि, त्यो पानीमा विहार गर्नको लागि, राम्रो वातावरणको लागि आउँदो दिनमा एउटा स्टिमर किन्ने र त्यहाँ राख्ने हामी पनि प्लानिङ गरेका छौँ।
कंकाली मन्दिर प्राङ्गणमा विभिन्न देवी देवताका अन्य मन्दिरहरू पनि रहेका छन्। प्राङ्गणमा रहेका मानसाराम बाबाको मन्दिर 3 मिटर उचाइ र 5.47 मिटरको चतुर्कोणाकारमा निर्माण गरिएको छ। मन्दिरभित्र मानसाराम बाबाको समाधि स्थल छ। समाधि अगाडि एक जोर खराउ छ जसलाई मानसा बाबाको खराउ भनी पूजा गरिन्छ। प्राङ्गणमा शिव, पार्वती, हनुमान, विष्णु, विश्वकर्माको मन्दिर रहेका छन्।
कंकाली मन्दिर त धेरै पुरानो इतिहास बोकेको मन्दिर हो। त्यो मन्दिरको प्राङ्गणमा तपाईँको कंकाली मन्दिर, मनसा बाबा मन्दिर, तपाईँको विष्णु मन्दिर, तपाईँको यो धेरै मन्दिरहरू छन्।
कंकाली मन्दिरदेखि करिब 1.5 माइलको पश्चिम दूरीमा रहेको छ रानीवास, जहाँ राम जानकीको मन्दिर छ। जङ्गबहादुर राणाका छोरा जीतजङले विक्रम सम्मत 1935मा आमा हिरण्य कुमारी सती जाने बेलामा व्यक्त गरेको इच्छा बमोजिम यो मन्दिरको निर्माण भएको थियो, जुन यहाँको घण्टामा समेत उल्लेख छ। मूल मन्दिर भने 3 तहको पेटी माथि बनेको छ। मन्दिरभित्र राम, सीता र लक्ष्मणका धातुका प्रतिमाहरू प्रतिष्ठापित छन्। अगाडि जङ्गबहादुर, हिरण्य कुमारी लगायत परिवारका सदस्यहरूको प्रतिमा रहेका छन्।
पहिला 2224 बेलादेखि यहाँ राजा शिवसिंहको पालीमा यो राम जानकी मन्दिर थियो र त्यसपछि नानदेवजी पनि आउनुभयो, त्यो उहाँको पालीमा पनि यहाँ राम जानकी मन्दिर र हाम्रो जङ्गबहादुर महाराजज्यू 1838 मा आएर हे भन्दा न उहाँ त अग्लो मन्दिर काठको नै बनाउनु भयो, त्यो प्रमाणै छ, आजसम्म इटमा लेखेर राखेको छ। र त्यसपछि 1935 मा हाम्रो जङ्गबहादुरको कान्छो छोरो जितजङ भनेर उहाँले नै बनाउनु भएको छ। उहाँको शिला यो जङ्गबहादुर महाराजको हो, उहाँको पत्नी, 2टा छोरी र एउटा कान्छो छोरो।
राणा जंग बहादुर पहिले यहाँ शिकार खेल्ने आउनुहुन्थ्यो। और शिकार खेल्दा खेल्दै यहाँ एउटा बासको रूपमा चाहिँ शिकार खेल्ने, यहाँ बास बस्ने, अनि फेरि जाने, फेरि बास बस्ने, शिकार खेल्ने। अब यहाँबाट जाँदाखेरि पत्रहट्टामा उहाँको मृत्यु भयो जंग बहादुरको। अनि छोरो थियो जगत जंग। अब त्यसको बुवाको नाउँमा पनि यो मन्दिर निर्माण गरिदियो। यो मन्दिर विशाल मन्दिर त्यो उनको छोरोले बनायो।
मन्दिरको प्राङ्गण वरिपरि 2 तलामा चतुष्कोणाकारका धर्मशाला बनेका छन्। मन्दिर निर्माणमा त्यहाँका भग्नावशेषहरू प्रयोग भएको छ। समय समयमा प्राप्त भएको मूर्तिले सिमरनगढको महत्वलाई झन बढाएको छ। यहाँका मूर्तिकलाका रचनाहरूले सिमरनगढको सांस्कृतिक समृद्धिलाई पुष्टि गर्दछ। यहाँको मूर्तिकलाले आर्थिक रूपले समृद्ध यो राज्यमा कला र साहित्यले भरपूर उन्नति गर्ने मौका पाएको स्पष्ट हुन्छ। केही वर्ष अगाडि पुरातत्व विभागको सक्रियतामा कंकाली मन्दिर परिसरका मूर्तिहरूलाई मन्दिर परिसरमै घर बनाई संग्रहित गरिएको छ। त्यसैगरी सिमरनगढका केही मूर्ति र दरबारका अवशेषलाई राष्ट्रिय संग्रहालय छाउनीमा संग्रहित गरिएको छ। सिमरनगढको तोरणद्वारको टुक्रा संग्रहालयको भित्री गेटमै राखिएको छ। यस क्षेत्रमा अनेकन पोखरी र इनारहरू रहेका छन्, जसमध्ये इसरा, झरौखरा, राजाबादा, मनहरवा, आमवा, हथाइया प्रमुख छन्। इसारा पोखरी कंकाली मन्दिरको अगाडि छ। यो पोखरीको नाम राजा शिवसिमकी रानी इसाराको नामबाट राखिएको छ। रानीवास मन्दिरको 1 किलोमिटर दूरीमा दक्षिणतर्फ खजहरी गाउँ छ। कर्नाट वंशी राजाहरूले खजाना राख्ने ठाउँ भएकाले यस ठाउँको नाम खजहनी भएको जनविश्वास छ। सो ठाउँमा अहिले पनि खेत, कुलो, माछा पोखरी खन्ने क्रममा पुरातात्विक वस्तु तथा मूर्ति भेट्न सकिन्छ। शान्ति, ऐश्वर्य र करुणाले धपक्क बलेको अलौकिक भाव र मुस्कानयुक्त चिल्ला काला ढुङ्गामा कुँदिएका मूर्तिहरूले यहाँको कलाको स्वतन्त्र र मौलिक शैलीलाई प्रस्तुत गर्दछ। मूर्तिमा पाइने आवरण र आभूषणले त छन् भक्ति रस र सौन्दर्य रस प्रदान गराउन सफल छ। मूर्तिहरूमा भाव अभिव्यक्तिको जुन मार्मिकता प्रदर्शित छ त्यसको जति प्रशंसा गरे पनि पूर्ण हुँदैन। अथाह पर्यटकीय सम्भावना बोकेको ऐतिहासिक र धार्मिक धरोहर सिमरनगढ दरबारसम्म पुग्नका लागि जनप्रतिनिधिहरू निर्वाचित भएर आएसँगै बाटोको सहज व्यवस्था भएको छ। सडक सुविधाका लागि नगरले पहल गरेसँगै आगन्तुकलाई केही सहज भएको छ।
मन्दिरको फुटपाथ निर्माण गरिराखेका छौँ। मन्दिरको फुटपाथ निर्माणमा तपाईको ब्लक लगाएर त्यो सौन्दर्यीकरण मन्दिरको भविष्य बाहिरबाट जुन पर्यटक आउँछ त्यो राम्रो कसरी हेर्न सकिन्छ, त्यसको आउने जाने केही कठिनाइ हुँदैन। त्यहाँ बस्नको लागि आउने जान हेर्नको लागि त्यो कंकाली मन्दिरमा गरिरहेका छ।
सिम्रौनगढका बारेमा अहिलेसम्म स्वदेशी र विदेशी पुरातत्वविदद्वारा धेरै अनुसन्धान भएका छन्। ती अनुसन्धानहरूले सिम्रौनगढ कुनै बेला दक्षिण एसियाका समुन्नत राज्यहरू मध्येको एक राज्य तिरहुतको राजधानी रहेको प्रमाणित भइसकेको छ। तर उत्खनन हुन बाँकी नै रहेकाले तत्कालीन राजधानी सिम्रौनगढका राजाहरूले राखेका आधिकारिक अभिलेख फेला पर्न सकेका छैनन्। तर उनीहरूका पालामा बनेका पोखरी, मूर्ति, कंकालिनी मन्दिर, रानीवास दरबार लगायतका सामग्रीहरू अहिले पनि साक्षीको रूपमा रहेका छन्। यहाँ टाढा टाढाबाट बास बस्न आउने पर्यटकहरूका लागि भने राम्रो होटल अथवा आवास गृहको अभाव छ। सुविधा सम्पन्न होटल, होमस्टे निर्माणका लागि सिम्रौनगढ उद्योग वाणिज्य संघले आवश्यक पहल गरिरहेको छ।
त्यो बस्नको लागि त अहिले तत्काल 2वटा होटल छ। अरू पनि बनाउनको लागि सोचिरहेछ यहाँको व्यापारीहरूले, बनाउँछ भविष्यमा पनि। अनि यहाँ एउटा के छ हजुर कि हाम्रो सिम्रौनगढमा भारतबाट मेन आउने चाहिँ भारतबाट नै हो बढी पर्यटक। त्यसको लागि पहिला यहाँ छोटी भन्सार थिएन, भर्खर हामी यो 1 महिना जति पहिला सञ्चालन गराएछौँ। तर सरकारसँग पनि पहल गरेका छौँ कि कम्तीमा यहाँ मूल भन्सार होस्। मूल भन्सार भइदिएको भए गाडीको आवत जावत अनि चाहिँ इन्ट्री गरेर होस् या भन्सार गरेर होस्, त्यो हिसाबले पनि यहाँ आउँछ। सरकारले पनि राजस्व उठ्छ त्यसबाट, अनि देशको आम्दानी पुँजी हुन्छ, हाम्रो सिम्रौनगढको पनि विकास हुन्छ, अनि पर्यटकहरू पनि बढी यहाँ आवत जावत गर्छ।
यस क्षेत्रको संरक्षण र प्रवर्धनका निम्ति बृहत योजनाको आवश्यकता देखिन्छ। कला संस्कृतिको अंकुत भण्डारको रूपमा रहेको यस क्षेत्रको उत्खनन र न्यायोचित मूल्याङ्कन नगरिएसम्म नेपालको कलाकृतिको इतिहासको खोजी अधुरो नै रहने प्रश्न छ, जसका लागि गुठी संस्थान, पुरातत्व विभाग जस्ता निकायहरूको भूमिका महत्वपूर्ण रहन सक्छ।
सिम्रौनगढ उद्योग वाणिज्य संघबाट पनि यसमा देशमा अनि पर्यटक मन्त्रालयमा पनि हामी पठाएछौँ कि यहाँ जसरी भए पनि यहाँको पहिला हाम्रो सिम्रौनगढमा सबै सम्पदा छँदैछ, तर तिनीहरू लोप हुँदैछ। त्यसको लागि हामी पर्यटक मन्त्रालयमा, अर्थ मन्त्रालयमा पटक पटक बारम्बार चाहिँ हामी आफ्नो लिखित रूपमा पत्रहरू पठाएछौँ कि सरकारबाट पहल होस्, यसलाई जसरी जे जस्तो छ त्यसले व्यवस्थित गरोस् अनि राम्रो हेर्न भइदिएको भए पर्यटकहरू त्यहाँ आफै आउँछ नि। त्यसको लागि हामी उद्योग वाणिज्य संघबाट धेरै पहल पनि गरेका छौँ। पहल फेरि गर्नको लागि अनि एउटा टिम बनाएर हामी सोचिरहेछौँ कि यसको लागि एकचोटि माथि केन्द्रमा काठमाडौँ गएर एकचोटि पर्यटन मन्त्रालयमा गएर बसेर यसको कुरा राखेर अर्थमन्त्री कहाँ पनि जाओस्, प्रधानमन्त्री कहाँ पनि जाओस्, उहाँहरूको ध्यान हो यो सिम्रौनगढको पर्यटक स्थल कसरी राम्रोसँग यो यसको विकास होस् भनेर हामी पहल पनि गर्दैछौँ। हजुर
मंदिर के हमनी के निर्वास सिमरावनगढ़ कंकाली अस्थाना उ सब जगह के हमनी के अच्छा विकास, अच्छा सुंदर देखे के चाहतनी। काहे तो मंदिर मैठबा इतना दिन से अभी नहीं सही बनी। आ कंकाली अस्थाना के हमनी के नेपाल के शान है। हमनी के नेपाल के शान के हमनी के अच्छा से आवरी स्वर्ग बनाई ये से आवरी सुंदर विकास करी।
ऐतिहासिक, सांस्कृतिक र पुरातात्विक महत्व बोकेको सिम्रौनगढको संरक्षण र प्रवर्धन पक्ष केही कमजोर भने अवश्य छ। तर समग्र मिथिलाको कला संस्कृतिको परिचय दिन सफल यहाँका पुरातात्विक सम्पदाहरू संरक्षणका लागि मध्य प्रदेश सरकारले रकम नै विनियोजन गरेर काम सुरु गरेको छ। बृहत गाउँ पर्यटनको सम्भावना बोकेको यस क्षेत्रको बहुमूल्य वस्तुलाई साँच्चै मूल्यवान बनाउन प्रदेश सरकार लागि परेको छ। मर्मत सम्हारको अभावमा मन्दिर जीर्ण बन्दै गइरहेका बेला प्रदेश सरकारले गरेको यो पहल र प्रयास साँच्चै प्रशंसनीय छ। मानव अतीतलाई छातीमा समेटेर ऐतिहासिक धरोहरलाई सुरक्षित राख्न सफल सिम्रौनगढ दरबार घुमौं, मधेस चिनाऊ।
For centuries, the Kumail community of Nepal has lived closely tied to the earth, shaping clay, cultivating land, and sustaining a cultural identity rooted in indigenous skill, craft, and tradition. Recognized as one of Nepal's marginalized indigenous nationalities, the Kumails traditionally settle in the hilly regions and inner Tarai plains. Cultural practices and oral histories indicate that they have been part of Nepal's civilization since ancient times. As inhabitants of Nepal's fertile river valleys and plains, the Kumails have carried forward a deep-rooted tradition of earthenware craftsmanship, agriculture, and a rich cultural heritage that reflects centuries of resilience and adaptation. Their pottery has been more than household utility. It has been a marker of identity, livelihood, and cultural continuity. Today, as modern vessels replace handmade earthen vessels, the Kumails find themselves preserving not only a profession but a heritage passed down through generations. According to an ancient belief, clay work began at the time of creation when Prajapati, the son of Brahma, molded the first earthen vessel using Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Vishnu. The Sanskrit term Kumbhakar, meaning pot maker, gradually transformed, becoming Kumhar and eventually Kumail. Even today, pottery remains spiritually and culturally significant for the community. In Kumail settlements, soil is not just the ground beneath their feet. It is raw material, cultural memory, and a symbol of survival. The Kumail population is spread mainly across central Tarai districts of Nepal, namely across Lumbini, Gandaki, and Bagmati provinces. Traditionally, they rely on two main occupations, agriculture and pottery. Farms provided daily sustenance, while pottery supported household needs and served as a source of income. Community life historically revolved around extended family systems with shared labor, collective participation in rituals, and a strong sense of belonging to ancestral land. Pottery for the Kumals is a detailed, multi-stage skill passed down through generations. The process begins with identifying the right soil. Black clay, the Kalu Matu, was traditionally preferred for its strength and texture. It was collected near riverbanks, ponds, and settled waterbeds. Among Tharu Kumals, this clay is also known as Kamaune Matu, meaning clay that earns. Clay is soaked, softened, and thoroughly kneaded. Using a tool called pasur, potters slice and cleanse the clay to remove impurities. In earlier times, bamboo tools were used instead of iron. The prepared clay is stored covered, maintaining moisture for shaping. The chakra or potter's wheel remains central to Kumal identity. Hands center the clay, fingers guide it, and experience shapes it. Tools like thap and pitani help refine form and smooth surface. Large vessels, water jars, grand pots, cooking pots, and ritual vessels were once part of every Nepali household, each bearing the touch of Kumal craftsmanship. Freshly formed pots are cut from the wheel with thread or leaf strips and set to dry. First in shade to prevent cracks, then under the sun. A reddish clay called Kabish Matu is applied for finish and strength. The firing structure, Ava or Auri, is built from wood, straw, husk, and cow dung. Pots are stacked carefully, forming a dome-like structure covered with hay and soil. The firing process takes up to 3 days. The Kumals maintain rich intangible heritage through customs, rituals, music, and dance. The Keli dance is one of the most distinctive cultural expressions of the Kumals. Traditionally performed by men dressed as women, it is associated with community celebrations and spiritual belief. The performance concludes with blessings for the household hosting the event. Marriage traditionally takes place within the community, though intercaste marriage, particularly with Magar communities, has become common.
Ada nen budi ciura. Dari pokoknya nen budi ciura. Pokoknya budi ciura.
Samdi fight is also popular in this culture, where fathers of bride and groom go through a physical battle as a part of entertainment. A child's naming ceremony called Nwaran takes place on the 9th day for daughters and 11th day for sons, where a young unmarried girl narrates the name referred by the priest. Gon Ponni, a ritual where the mother burns bedding used during childbirth, is followed by baths. The child is then named and welcomed.
बोलाउने नाम आशिष कुमाल, देवताको नाम गोविन्द कुमाल,
Grandmothers carry babies around the home, chasing the newborn with a catapult, symbolically granting strength and sealing belonging. That rites emphasize purity, remembrance, and respect. The eldest son, or the one performing final rites, often standing inside a fishing net, performs final rites reflecting links to water-based livelihood and spiritual symbolism. Among the many Kumal rituals, ancestral worship, Kul Puja is considered the most important. It is performed in remembrance of those deceased in the family and is also known as Pitri Puja. The Kul Puja honors ancestors annually, while the worship of Singh Devata, urn-shaped for his deities, highlights ties to nature and livestock protection. The Kumal people speak their own indigenous language, Kumal, which belongs to the Tibeto-Burman family. However, due to increasing influence of Nepali language and modernization, the use of Kumal language has been declining, and community efforts continue to revive it through cultural programs and schools. Most Kumals practice Hinduism, worshipping deities such as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and local protective gods and goddesses. Ancestral worship and belief in nature spirits hold deep cultural importance. Traditional attire for men includes white clothing and the dhaka topi, while women wear black blouses, traditional skirts, and red shawls, often adorned with local jewelry. With industrial materials such as aluminum, steel, and plastic replacing clay vessels, the demand for traditional pottery has sharply declined. Many Kumal families have moved to agriculture, labor, service work, or small businesses. Modern education and new employment opportunities are reshaping the choices of younger generations. Their hands do not merely shape clay, they sculpt culture, memory, and the foundation of Nepal's artistic soul. The Kumal community stands at a historic crossroads between tradition and modernity, memory and transition. Their identity is closely tied to clay, yet their future relies on adapting to changing socio-economic landscapes. Their story is not only about pottery, but resilience of a people who shaped Nepal's cultural foundation long before industry and technology. The preservation of Kumal heritage is not a matter of nostalgia. It is a recognition of indigenous knowledge, cultural diversity, and history shaped by hands that turn earth into life. If the story of Nepal is one of civilizations formed by soil and river, then the Kumal legacy will always remain at its foundation.
Votekosi and Trisuli river rafting. Rafting has lately been gaining popularity among tourists. The adventure sport, which previously was popular only among foreigners, is now drawing the local tourists as well. Trisuli and Votekosi rivers that are close to Kathmandu are two popular destinations for rafting in Bagmati province. Let us first explore Votekosi. Whitewater rafting at Votekosi river is included among the 10 best adventure destinations for rafting in the world. Votekosi, which is well facilitated with food and accommodation, can be a great destination for rafting and other adventure sports. Rafting at Trisuli River is popular among domestic tourists, as the location can be reached in an hour from Kathmandu. This is where most tourists go for rafting in Nepal. Rafting packages of Votekosi and Trisuli are appropriate for those who want to spend some good time for a few days.
Prime Minister Sushila Karki orders high security for peaceful elections. Authorities directed to monitor boycotts and ensure voter safety. Solukhumbu voters in Nepal show enthusiasm despite geographical challenges. Demand candidates prioritize healthcare, education and local development. Indefinite curfew imposed in Gaur following violence clashes. Security restricted from Mudwalawa to customs area to restore order. Nepal's trade deficit hits rupees 955 billion as imports surge. India remains top partner while fuel and commodities drive trade gap. Trump slams Supreme Court for blocking trade policy, announces a new 15% global tariff. And rain plays ultimate spoil sport in Colombo. Super 8 opener between Pakistan and New Zealand washed out. Good evening. Welcome to NTV World News Hour. I'm Suveksha Rajak, coming up to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in details. Prime Minister Sushila Karki has ordered security officials in Lumini province to tighten security for the upcoming House of Representatives elections. Citing a recent rise in sporadic incidents, she emphasized the need for a fearless environment and the identification of anyone attempting to disrupt the polls.
पहाडतिर चाहिँ त देखिएन यो तराईतिर चाहिँ अब हुन्छ नि दुई तीनवटा पार्टीहरू अलि बढी सक्रिय र उनीहरू प्रभावकारी छन् त्यो पार्टी बीचमा चाहिँ कसले जित्ने कसले हार्ने त्यो बीचमा केही खेल गर्न खोज्नु र त्यही चाहिँ झडपको रूपमा चाहिँ परिणत हुनु त्यो हामीले अब एउटा आशंका गर्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ हो नहुन पनि सक्छ हुन पनि सक्छ तर यो कुरालाई तयारी त हुनु पर्यो नि अब हिजो अस्ति एउटाको पार्टीको अर्कोले झण्डा जलायो भन्ने यस्ता कुरा पनि आछ त यस्तो किसिमको आउन सक्छ.
She specifically warned against groups spreading election boycott rumors for political gain, demanding strict surveillance to ensure a peaceful voting process. Voters in Solukhumbu are prioritizing basic development over ambitious political promises for the upcoming election. With a population of over 104,000 and 85,000 registered voters, the district's primary concerns are the lack of local health care, forcing expensive trips to Kathmandu and poor road connectivity. While the CP and UML won the single federal seat in 2022, 12 candidates are now competing to address demands for reliable electricity, clean water and job creation through tourism. Despite these infrastructure gaps, voter enthusiasm remains high as residents push for practical solutions to remote living challenges. Meanwhile, Election Commission Nepal has ramped up nationwide voter education and security drills, organizing mock voting and crisis simulations across the nation to ensure a fair and fear-free poll, while reducing invalid ballots and reinforcing election day preparedness. We bring more on this in our segment Issue of the Day later in the bulletin. Now the next news we have. A curfew has been imposed in Gaur, Rohtahat following violent communal clashes that broke out Saturday morning. Despite a peace agreement reached just a day prior, tensions escalated into stone pelting, the torching of vehicles and damage to a local mosque. The unrest began Thursday night over wedding processions, music near a religious site. Hundreds of security personnel are now deployed and all public movement or gatherings are strictly prohibited to restore order ahead of the upcoming elections on 5th of March. Nepal's trade deficit has surged past 955 billion rupees, with imports at 123.48 billion rupees, drastically outstripping exports 116 billion rupees. India remains the largest trading partner, accounting for a 491 billion rupees deficit alone. While Nepal saw minor trade profits with countries like Romania and Norway, these were eclipsed by massive spending on essentials. Top imports were petroleum products, including diesel, petrol and LPG, which led the coast at over 139 billion rupees, followed by soybeans, iron and gold. Soybean oil dominated export, earning at 66.78 billion rupees, supported by black cardamom, sunflower oil and carpets. US President Donald Trump has announced a new 15% global tariff. This comes in an attempt to replace one struck down by the Supreme Court. Trump called the running terrible and lambasted the justices who rejected his trade policy. In a 6-3 decision, the court held the president had overstepped his powers.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
The decision was a major victory for businesses and U.S. states that had challenged the duties, opening the door to potentially billions of dollars in tariff refunds, while also injecting new uncertainty into the global trade landscape. Rain has played the ultimate spoilsport in Colombo, forcing the abandonment of the highly anticipated Super 8 opener between Pakistan and New Zealand. Despite Pakistan winning the toss and electing to bat, it rained before a single ball could be bowled at the R. Premadasa Stadium. With no reserve days scheduled for this stage, both teams walk away with 1 point each. The result leaves Group 2 wide open, turning the remaining fixtures against England and Sri Lanka into high-stakes must-win battles for a spot in the semi-finals. From the high-altitude peaks of Solukhumbu in Nepal, voters are demanding basic development as they prepare for the upcoming March 5 House of Representative polls. Meanwhile, in snowy Manang, security forces are racing to clear massive snow drifts to ensure voters can reach their polling centres. That's our issue of the day after this short break. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Now it's time for our issue of the day. In the Himalayan districts of Solukhumbu, voters are eagerly preparing to cast their ballots. Despite the geographical fragility, voter enthusiasm remains strongly in these sparsely populated areas. They are calling on candidates to prioritize basic development issues including healthcare, education, tourism, agriculture and employment opportunities. Our colleague Aprila Kisinglama with our district correspondent from Okhaldunga, Navaraj Karki, explores.
Residents of Dorpu Bazar in Solukhumbu district, a mountainous region in northeastern Nepal that is home to Mount Everest, say basic public services rather than grand political promises should define the agenda in the upcoming elections.
निशुल्क शिक्षाको व्यवस्था र निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य चाहिँ पाए हुन्थ्यो भन्ने चाहिँ मेरो चाहना छ। भ्रष्टाचार रहित अलि सुशासन को नीति नियमहरु पालन गरेर काम गर्ने छन् त्यस्तो खालको योग्य नेतालाई चाहिँ उम्मेदवार बनेर त्यसलाई भोटिङ गर्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो योजना हो।
In this mountainous terrain, access to healthcare remains a serious challenge. Even for common illnesses, families are often compelled to take loans to travel long distances to Kathmandu for treatment. In higher altitude and hard-to-reach settlements, emergency cases can require costly helicopter evacuations due to the lack of equipped medical facilities. Education services are limited, road connectivity is poor, and employment opportunities remain scarce in the rugged Himalayan landscapes. Across Solukhumbu, citizens are calling for reliable roads capable of withstanding mountainous conditions, stable electricity, telecommunications, and safe drinking water. Many are also seeking greater investment in tourism, agriculture, and small enterprises to generate jobs in a region where the economy heavily depends on seasonal trekking and mountaineering. Solukhumbu has a population of just over 104,000 people, with more than 85,000 registered voters expected to participate in the upcoming polls. Despite geographical challenges, local officials report strong voter enthusiasm.
हामी प्रत्येक पालिकामा सम्बद्ध सरकारवालाहरुसँग अन्तर्क्रिया पनि जस्तै हामीले कुलुङ महाकुलुङमा गर्यौं अन्तर्क्रिया हैन त्यसै गरी गएर सोताङमा पनि गर्यौं मापेमा गर्यौं अनि त्यसपछि गएर लिखुपिकेमा पनि हामीले अन्तर्क्रिया कार्यक्रमहरु गर्यौं अन्तर्क्रिया कार्यक्रमको क्रममा चाहिँ उहाँहरुले मतदान गर्नलाई चाहिँ एकदमै उत्साहितै रहेको पाएका छौं।
In the 2022 parliamentary election, CPN-UML candidate Manbir Rai won the district's sole federal constituency, defeating his nearest rival from the Nepali Congress. This time, 12 candidates from major political parties are competing for the seat, as voters in Nepal's Himalayan heartland look for political solutions to long-standing development gaps. Aprila Kisinglama with local correspondent Navraj Karki from Okhaldunga reporting for NTV World.
Efforts are underway to clear massive snowdrifts and create a path toward polling centres in the Norpabhumi rural municipality of Manang after access for monitoring became nearly impossible. All 3 security agencies in the district are currently working to clear the accumulated snow to facilitate movement. Travel to this region had come to a complete standstill during the winter as most local residents moved out of the district. Chief District Officer Naran Paudel stated that the snow clearing operation aims to ensure that both voters and election officials can safely reach the villages to conduct the polls despite the extreme cold and heavy snowfall. There were 5 polling centers in this area, serving a total of 488 voters. Now, in this context, in our Public Pulse segment, today we have asked voters in the hilly regions what kind of leadership does the region need. Let's have a look.
विकास गर्नेले चाहिँ दिनुपर्छ नि जतिसक्दो त कहाँ दिन्छ र
अरूको देश खाडी मुलुकतिरदेखि लिएर हैन यस्तोमा गएर गुलामी नबनाउने वहाँ गएर गुलामी गर्नुको सट्टा यहीँतिर चाहिँ विभिन्न योजनाहरू लिएर विभिन्न जस्तै हामी बेरोजगारीहरूलाई चाहिँ विभिन्न प्रकारका यही रोजगारहरू खुलाउने त्यस्ता युवा नेताहरूलाई चाहिँ हामी रोज्न चाहन्छौँ।
सुशासनहरू कायम गरेर गाउँ गाउँमा बोलेका कुराहरू विकासका पूर्वाधारहरूका एजेन्डाहरू ल्याएर शिक्षा स्वास्थ्य खानेपानी जस्ता उसमा चाहिँ धेरै सक्रिय भयो नि हुन्थ्यो।
गरिब गुरुवाले हालेको भोट चाहिँ हामी गरिब जनताको भोट चाहिँ खेर नजाओस्, देशमा विकास चाहिँ देशको लागि विकास चाहिँ धेरै अलि राम्रो हुनु पर्यो। किनभने त्यही अब गरिब जनताहरू अब नेपाली अब दिदीबहिनी दाजुभाइहरू विदेशी नपरोस्।
रोजगारको सिलसिलामा नयाँ युवाहरूलाई चाहिँ अब विदेश जानु नपरोस्, अब यस्तै अब रोजगार खुलाउने अब यस्तो कृषिपट्टिबाट भयो, अब कृषि अनुदानहरू अब जुन गर्ने मान्छेलाई चाहिँ कृषि नै भएको छैन।
महिला अधिकार हुनु पर्यो अनि अब हाम्रो गाउँमा विकास हुनु पर्यो। अब के अब रोडहरू गाउँ गाउँमा रोड पुगेको छैन, ठाउँ ठाउँमा रोड राम्रो छैन, रोडको राम्रो गरी ल्याउने खालको मान्छे हुनु पर्यो।
That was our issue of the day. Moving on, as the world celebrates International Mother Language Day, we explore this year's focus on youth voices and multilingual education. Join us after the break to see how Nepal is honoring its 120+ languages and the global push to preserve cultural heritage in our cover story. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour, and this is time for our cover story. Today, nations worldwide are celebrating International Mother Language Day to protect linguistic diversity and promote multilingual education for the next generation. In Nepal, home to over 120 languages, top officials and diplomats gathered to emphasize that preserving mother tongue is essential for inclusive development and cultural heritage. Our colleague Smituki Singh Tamang reports.
Today, the world marks International Mother Language Day, observed every year on February 21 to celebrate linguistic diversity and promote multilingualism, the very foundation of cultural identity, education, and social inclusion. According to UNESCO, there are more than 8,300 languages spoken or signed across the world, and around 7,000 are still in active use. Yet, nearly 43% of these are endangered, disappearing every few weeks as globalization and dominant languages overshadow minority tongues. Nepal, one of the most linguistically diverse nations, is home to 124 mother tongues as per the 2021 census, spread across major language families including Indo-European, Austro-Asiatic, and others. About Nepal's language landscape, Nepali leads with nearly 45% of the population identifying it as their mother tongue. Maithili follows at 11%, Bhojpuri 6%, and Tharu 6%. Other indigenous languages like Tamang, Nepal Bhasa, and Magar each account for 2 to 5% of speakers. About province-wide spoken languages, Madhya province is dominated by Maithili, Bhojpuri, Bajika alongside Nepali. Bagmati and Gandaki, high diversity with Nepali, Tamang, Newar, and Magar. Koshi province, mix of Nepali, Maithili, Rajbanshi, Tharu, and Kirati languages. Sudur Paschim and Karnali, Nepali, and related dialects like Doteli feature strongly. Scholars warn nearly half of Nepal's languages face varying degrees of endangerment, with only around 47% considered safe, meaning actively passed to younger generations. Globally, nearly 40% of students lack access to education in their first language, a barrier to learning outcomes and cultural empowerment. While there have been some recent achievements, such as Bagmati province adopting Nepal Bhasa and Tamang as administrative languages, greater efforts are still needed to conserve and promote our mother languages. Smitu Gising Tamang, reporting for NTV World.
In this context, we had earlier talked to the chairperson of the Language Commission. Here are the experts.
The International Mother Language Day starts, its background starts from Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, at that time, it was in Eastern Pakistan. And the people were Muslim, but they were Bengali native speakers. And their demand was to recognize Bengali alongside Urdu as the official language. In 1952, 5 students were killed by the then Pakistani administration, and afterward, when Bangladesh was established, it took initiative to recognize it as International Mother Language Day. That's why the first importance of this day is that mother language is much important. It's not only just the means of communication. Our country has no mother language in majority, but in Bangladesh, Bengali language is in majority. Besides that, our country has 124 languages according to the 2021st census report. We have already recommended in all 7 provinces, and among them 2 provinces have already recognized our recommendations. Bagmati state government has already declared Tamang and Nepal Bhasa as the official languages. Likewise, Gandaki province has already declared Gurung and Magar languages for the official status, and other states or other provinces are already working to do so. Moreover, that recently that I said earlier, we have recommended the government of Nepal to use multilingual education in practice through mother tongue, and recently we have already tendered our recommendations to Right Honorable Prime Minister Sushila Karki. First of all, education must start from mother language as not as a subject, but as the medium, vernacular of education, and initial education should be mother tongue. The next one, in all 3 levels of the government, mother tongues should be recognized as the official status. And for government of Nepal also, we have tendered our recommendation to amend the Article 7(1) of the Constitution. There, only Nepali has been recognized as the official language of Nepal.
Now that was our cover story of the day. In other news, Election Commission Nepal has ramped up nationwide voter education and security drills, organizing mock voting and crisis simulations across the nation and to ensure a fair and free poll, while reducing invalid ballots and reinforcing election day preparedness. Our colleague Diksha Avasti brings more.
As Nepal prepares for the March 5 House of Representatives election, the Election Commission Nepal has intensified a nationwide voter education and security preparedness campaign, combining public awareness drives, mock voting exercises, and coordinated security simulations to ensure a free, fair, and fear-free poll. The mock voting program is part of a broader voting education initiative designed to inform citizens about the voting process, ballot marking procedures, and polling day protocols. Officials say the objective is not only to boost voter confidence but also to reduce the number of invalid ballots, as issue observed in previous elections. At the same time, security simulations are being conducted across districts. These coordinated drills allow security agencies to rehearse responses to potential election day risk to ensure polling remains safe and orderly. In Dhading, the District Election Office and District Security Committee have taken mock voting and voter education to rural settlements. Security drills involving the Nepal Army, Nepal Police, and Armed Police Force are also underway. The exercises focus on polling station security, crowd management, emergency response, and legal responsibilities. Dhading has 114 polling stations and 310 polling centers, with 6 classified as highly sensitive. Meanwhile, in Okhaldunga, authorities carried out a full-scale mock crisis scenario. The drill simulated a voter attempting to vote twice, triggering protest and chaos inside a polling center. Security forces responded in layers of Nepal Police first, followed by the Armed Police Force, and finally the Nepal Army, forming a perimeter and firing warning shots. The situation was brought under control. Political parties were consulted and voting resumed, a test of real-time coordination on the ground. Okhaldunga has 84 polling stations and 157 polling centers. In Biratnagar of Morang, a similar exercise demonstrated voter protection measures, disruption control, and the secure transport of ballot boxes to counting centers. Officials say there will be no compromise on election security. Beyond security, the Commission is expanding voter education. In Thapa, a district-wide campaign will run from February 15 to March 1 across all 131 wards, with volunteers reaching households using sample ballot papers. Officials say mock voting helps reduce voter errors, familiarize first-time and elderly voters with ballot, and minimize invalidated votes, while emphasizing the voter education is as vital as security to maintaining electoral integrity, even though the awareness campaign began less than a month before the election.
For the upcoming House of Representative elections on March 5, Nepal's major political parties have made economic prosperity the central focus of their manifestos. They have put forward numerous economic agendas, including job creation, increase in per capita income, young targeted economic programs, and development in sectors such as agriculture, tourism, energy, information technology. Here's a report.
Having recently restructured the party, the Nepali Congress Party has resolved to increase the size of the economy to 11.5 trillion rupees and per capita income to $2,500 within the next 5 years through their second-generation economic reforms. Congress has proposed a policy to mobilize 80% of investment from the private sector, limit the state to a facilitator role, and keep tax rates stable for 10 to 15 years. Additionally, they have set a goal to create 1.5 million new jobs in the next 5 years and keep inflation within a 5% limit. The other major party, CPN-UML, has announced plans to grow the economy to 10 trillion rupees in 5 years and 20 trillion rupees in 10 years, with ambitious plans to achieve 7% to 9% economic growth, create 500,000 jobs annually, and reach a per capita income of $3,000. UML has emphasized megacity concept and the digital infrastructure. Their manifesto also includes improving the Human Development Index by 5 points, lifting 1 million Nepalis out of poverty, ending load shedding, expanding health insurance reach to 65 districts, paving an average of 5 kilometers of road daily, establishing South Asia's first cross-border pipeline, providing a dollar card worth 10,000 to youth and entrepreneurs for research, production, development, and export promotion in the IT sector. The Nepali Communist Party has included the prioritization of domestic production as a key agenda to reduce Nepal's dependency and its trade deficit. The Maoists have proposed a policy to make Nepal self-sufficient in daily essential goods and discourage the import of luxury items. Their economic agendas include just distribution of land and encouraging cultivation on barren land, starting collective or cooperative farming by integrating small and scattered land plots, managing production, storage, and marketing through cooperatives in villages, treating hydropower as the backbone of the economic revolution, building large projects with domestic investment, earning foreign currency through electricity exports, and providing cheap energy for domestic industries. The Rashtriya Swatantra Party aims to improve the business environment by repealing cumbersome laws, reaching a per capita income of $3,000 and achieving an economy size of $100 billion. They have committed to bringing cooperatives with transactions exceeding 500 million rupees under the regulation of the Nepal Rashtra Bank. Meanwhile, the new party Ujalo Nepal has set a target of 4,111 billion GDP and 25,000 megawatt of electricity production by 2035.
A meeting of the Central Security Committee is taking place at the Ministry of Home Affairs to address pressing national issues, overall peace and security situation, and matters related to the upcoming elections set for March 5. The meeting is being led by Central Security Committee Chairperson and Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal with participation from senior officials of all 4 security bodies. The discussions during the meeting focused on security challenges associated with the elections, particularly in the Tarai Madhes region. The Ministry of Home Affairs has stated that necessary decisions will be made following a thorough discussion of the relevant issues. Apples from the mountainous districts of Jumla are devoured across Nepal. They are considered a high-value agriculture crop in the high hills of the country. Recently, in our experiment on suitable climate to expand the farming of Nepal's apples, farmers in the eastern hills have taken to commercial apple farming. Our colleague Rojina Rai with our local correspondent Ganesh Vista explains more.
Apple farming in Nepal is a rapidly developing high-value sector, primarily in high-hill districts like Mustang, Jumla and Manang. The program to experiment on the suitable climate to expand the apple farming in other high-hill districts across the country is ongoing priority of the government of Nepal. Meanwhile, in Bhojpur district of eastern Nepal, farmers in Ramprasad Rai municipality are successfully expanding commercial apple farming for the first time. The initiative is part of a grant program launched by the rural municipality 6 months back. Under this program, farmers received apple seedlings with 50% cost-sharing support from the ward office, a policy commonly used in Nepal to promote high-value crops in rural communities. In the villages of Samki and Tamalung, around 36 households have already begun commercial apple cultivation. The ward office has encouraged this shift by providing grants and technical support, motivating farmers to expand their orchards and adopt farming practices suitable to the region's hilly terrain and soil. Nearly 1,800 apple saplings were distributed, selected specifically to thrive in the local climate and geography. The initiative aims to develop the region as a pocket area for apple production. The agriculture section confirmed that the saplings are well suited to local conditions, ensuring better growth and higher yields.
के वस्तु लाउन सकिन्छ र कृषकलाई छिटोभन्दा छिटो चाहिँ आय स्तरको कृषकहरूको आय स्तर चाहिँ वृद्धि गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने अभिप्रायका साथ मुख्य गरी साम्के र तामालुङ हाम्रो यो ओडाको साबिक 3 र 4 को साम्के र तामालुङको यो भागमा हामीले एक टोल एक उत्पादनको अवधारणा अनुरूप हामीले यो गरेका छौँ र यो चाहिँ भूगोल पनि अलिकति माथिल्लो फाट भएको हुनाले यो स्याउ जात हामीले छनौट गरेर यहाँ स्याउ चाहिँ फल्छ भन्ने हामीले चाहिँ अनुमान गरेर कृषि प्राविधिक साथीहरूसँग पनि सरसल्लाह गरेर हामीले स्याउको कार्यक्रम यहाँ राख्यौँ।
The municipality has also established humidity centers in Baigunta to store agricultural produce. Alongside fruit farming, the One House, One Tunnel program has been launched across all wards in the district. While transitioning toward commercialization, high-density farming, and modern techniques, it faces challenges from infrastructure's deficit. Rosina Rai with the local correspondent Ganesh Bista from Bhojpur reporting for NTV World.
We have updates from the international front on the other side, but before that, let's have a recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Sushila Karki orders high security for peaceful elections. Authorities directed to monitor boycotts and ensure voter safety. Solukhumbu voters in Nepal show enthusiasm despite geographic challenges, demand candidates prioritize healthcare, education and local development. Now in the update. Now in the international updates, at a major summit in New Delhi, 86 nations including the US and China issued a landmark declaration calling for secure and trustworthy artificial intelligence. While the statement lacks binding regulations, it highlights voluntary initiatives to balance AI's economic benefits with risks like job losses, misinformation, and high energy consumption. A significant shift saw the United States sign on despite previously rejecting global governance to protect innovation. India used the event to showcase its ambition to become an AI powerhouse, eyeing $200 billion in tech investments. Looking ahead, a new UN scientific panel has been formed to lead global governance, modeled after the International Body for Climate Change, with the next summit set for Geneva in 2027. Russian President Putin has instructed his negotiators to explore peaceful solutions following 2 days of US-brokered talks in Geneva. While the Russian delegation focused on security guarantees and de-escalation, no concrete deals were reached as both sides described the discussions as difficult. Despite the deadlock, Putin emphasized that Russia will remain diplomatically engaged while strictly prioritizing the country's strategic interests. On the second day of the 9th Workers' Party Congress in Pyongyang, Kim Jong-un detailed a comprehensive vision for North Korea's next 5 years. Highlighting a period of great transformation, Kim's report shifted focus toward boosting the national economy and living standards while simultaneously demanding military readiness and further expansion of nuclear capabilities. More than 150 giant tortoises have been reintroduced to Floriana Island, restoring a species that disappeared over a century ago due to overexploitation, habitat destruction, and invasive species. Many of the tortoises were raised in captivity to protect them during their early vulnerable years before being released into the wild. Officials say their return will help restore lost ecological functions, as giant tortoises act as natural ecosystem engineers by shaping vegetation and supporting other native species. The Galapagos island, famously studied by Charles Darwin in 1835, remain one of the world's most important diversity hotspots. We are going for another breather here. Business news coming up next. Stay with us.
India and Brazil have agreed to expand cooperation on critical minerals and rare earth elements following talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in New Delhi. The agreement focuses on strengthening supply chains for minerals essential to renewable energy, electric vehicles, and advanced technology amid growing global competition for strategic resources. Lula's visit underscores Brazil's intention to expand economic ties with India and to position the bilateral relationship as a key pillar of South-South cooperation. Both Brazil and India are seeking to reduce dependence on limited global suppliers and to diversify partnerships amid growing geopolitical competition over strategic resources.
Thank you.
The Paris Agricultural Show has opened without the presence of the live cattle as livestock farmers staged a protest against the government's policy of mass culling of herds infected with lumpy skin disease. Farmers instead brought resin cow replicas to represent their breeds. Addressing the show's opening, French President Emmanuel Macron said France is in the process of winning the battle and defended the government's sanitary measures, noting no new cases has been reported since early January. He added that he would meet with agricultural unions willing to engage in dialogue, even as some groups chose to boycott the traditional presidential meeting. The dispute comes amid broader economic challenges for French farmers, including volatile markets, rising input costs, and concerns over trade competition, intensifying pressure on the government to find solutions acceptable to the agricultural community. Vietnam's tuna exports recovered strongly in 2025, reaching $924 million. Growth was driven by steady demand from key markets including the US, the EU, and Japan, with canned and processed tuna accounting for the largest share. Producers are increasing compliance with sustainability, traceability, and anti-IUU requirements while navigating high raw material costs and technical barriers. For 2026, the outlook remains positive as seafood consumption is expected to rebound in North America and Europe, supporting continued export growth. Companion robots, which are usually tiny and adorable AI-powered devices, are making their way into the mainstream in China. These smart devices are small in size, sometimes covered with fur, much like pets, and they can have conversations and provide emotional support. There are multiple robot consumer experience stores across Beijing, primarily focused on education and emotional companionship. Many parents say the devices can help them in answering some of their children's basic questions. The World Robotics 2025 report shows that China has been the world's largest industrial robot market for 11 straight years and now holds more than 190,000 valid robotics patents, nearly two-thirds of the global total.
Now to sports news. Defending champions India kick off their Super 8s campaign this Sunday in a high-stakes rematch of the 2024 final against South Africa. Both teams enter the Ahmedabad clash undefeated, though India's bowling coach Mohan Bagal has warned that early wickets against the in-form Pro-Tees top order will be the deciding factor in this heavyweight battle. FC Barcelona coach Hansi Flick has confirmed the return of Pedri and Marcus Rashford from injury ahead of Sunday's La Liga clash with Levante UD. Flick also emphasized the importance of reintegrating key players to stabilize the team after consecutive defeats, signaling a strategic push to regain momentum in the domestic campaign.
We are on the right way, but we have to work hard because it was also not easy tomorrow because I expect that they are playing very deep in their own half and try to looking for some transitions. So it's about that, but we have to we play it at home and with our fans, with our supporters, I think we're in a good moment then.
A 9-year-old boy dreamed of becoming a soccer player when he was diagnosed with bone cancer in his left leg. A decade later, Japanese player Tokito Uda is the world #1 in wheelchair tennis. Winner of the Golden Slam, the 4 Grand Slam tournaments and the gold medal at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Uda says the diversity he faced as a child ultimately forged his competitive spirit and focus. He added grueling rehabilitation sessions and the mental resilience required to compete at the highest level. Now, Global Ambassador for Adaptive Sport, Uda uses his platform to inspire young athletes facing hardship. Now to weather update, first from Nepal and around the world. Now, before we wrap up, let's have the recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Sushila Karki orders high security for peaceful elections. Authorities directed to monitor boycotts and ensure voter safety. Solukhumbu voters in Nepal show enthusiasm despite geographical challenges. Demand candidates prioritize healthcare, education and local development. In Defy night curfew imposed in Gaur following violent clashes, security restricted from Mudwalava to customs area to restore order. Nepal's trade deficit hits 955 billion rupees as imports surge. India remains top partner while fuel and commodities drive trade gap. Trump slams Supreme Court for blocking trade policy, announces a new 15% global tariff. And rain plays ultimate spoil sport in Colombo. Super 8 opener between Pakistan and New Zealand washed out. That's all here for the moment at NTV World News Hour. I'm Suveksha Rajak and thank you for staying with us here. Do join us through our social media platform and get the latest updates from our official website www.nepaltelevision.com. Thank you so much. Good evening.